Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
Check. What up, world? It's the man with the plan, Burt McGurk, aka PR, the King of Hearts, and you are now tuned into Clocking Out, the podcast you listen to when you need to get motivated and inspired to doing bigger and better things. What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Clocking Out. How you doing? How you living? How you been? It's the man with the plan here, Burt McGurk, aka PR, the King of Hearts, and today I'm here with our guest speaker, DadBob. DadBob, how you doing?
Doing good, brother. Doing good. Really appreciate you having me up here, man. It's been a long time coming. I'm definitely glad we can make it happen.
Me too, man. I know it's been a minute, but, we finally got to it, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you've been working on, learning more about you. I know we haven't seen each other in person since VeeCon of last year, right before the Busta Rhymes concert. We linked it up. It was me, you, my boy Eric, and we were there with Tim Livingston from it used to be Vector Bots, and now it's Living Bots. And I know we got to kick it for a little bit, but we didn't get to talk much and conversate. But it was the first time and last time that I saw you in person. And since then, I've been wanting to catch up and see what, learn more about you, what you've been working on. I know I've been seeing you post up a lot of stuff with your daughter's content wise. I've been seeing a lot of your artwork that I want to get into as well. And yeah, man, I feel like a lot of people should pay more close attention to you. You're very creative. You got a lot of stuff going on. And, you're a father, man. And I'm always looking for other fathers who are in this space as well, that give a good example of, how you can manage being a content creator or an artist and still being a father on top of that. I struggle myself with thinking that it's really hard to find that balance between having a regular 9-to-5 job and regular ordinary life stuff, but then again, at the same time, trying to make sure that you have your time balanced out between your family, your jobs, and also what you have interest in. And, seeing you do so much of that, I feel like you're a great person to talk to so that people can get an idea of how they can manage to still have that balance and still do what they love and put that time and energy into the family and the people that they care about. You know what I'm saying? So before we go into any of all that stuff, let the people know who you are and give them a brief description and background of what you're about and what your history and experience is, man, before we get into it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It has been a minute since VeeCon. That's crazy. It was so dope at seeing Busta Rhymes and being able to connect with you and so many other people. Shout out to Tim. But yeah, man, a lot of people know me as DadBob, but my name's Bobby or Robert. Some know me as Bob. Some know me as Bobby D. I go by many names. I wear many different hats. I'm very passionate, and I like to call myself a multi-medium person. I'm very interested in so many different things. I'll see something, I want to pick it up, and I'll try it. And that's one thing about myself that, for the people listening and yourself and so many different other people I've connected with, I see something and I try it. If it fails, then, and I still love it, I'm going to continue trying it. If I fail and I don't like it, on to the next thing. I just love trying new things. Very curious person naturally. I've always been very observant. Always been an artist, the art of observation, the art of noticing and just trying to capture those moments. But I grew up in Massachusetts, kind of hopping all around the state. I live just outside of Cape Cod, which is kind of like our Florida over here. But, kind of moving around a lot. And I grew up traditionally with my parents. They actually met through real estate, ironically. And we kind of became more so like a real estate family. Family kind of split up a bit. We all kind of went different routes, kind of grew up in the struggle a little bit. Ironically, full circle, I ended up getting into real estate. My brother ended up getting into real estate. My sister's currently in real estate right now. It's just been it was kind of the foundation of our family. And we all kind of went our different ways in life and wise of what we were interested in, our experiences and what we were going through with my parents splitting up. And kind of, to make a long story very short, I kind of ended up on a very individual path. I became the man of the house very quickly. Had to look out for my brother, had to make sure the house was good. My sister was out doing her thing. So it was pretty much just like me and my brother all the time. And life became more about just the hustle, just whatever we could do to make a buck. It didn't matter whether we're selling juice boxes out the locker or doing things we probably shouldn't be doing. We just had to get money because it was like, hey, Ma, I need $20. And, you know, and I know that broke her heart all the time to say, I can't give it to you right now. So we just had to go out and get it, which in retrospect shows you that sometimes things are, no, not sometimes, all the times, life is made perfectly. Everything works out exactly how it's supposed to. And it taught us that hustle and that tenacity very, very young. And since I was a kid, I've always been an artist. But you know as well as I do, growing up, like, it was like, if you want to do anything outside of this normal box of, like, you got to go to school, you got to go to college, you got to listen, you got to, you know, do all these things exactly the way society wants you to do them. And from day one, like, as soon as I came out of my mother, I'm like, fuck all of that. I don't believe in it. It doesn't make sense to me. Why am I listening to you? We're both two humans born on this planet. And I've always been very anti-authoritarian that way, where I was always against, like, what was normal. I never really fit in the boxes. So it was a kind of a struggle for a long time. And no bullshit, like, until I got into Web3, VeeFriends, this whole digital online lifestyle, I didn't think that being an artist was a real thing that I could do. You know, it was the idea, like, you got to build a business or you got to get a job and move up the ladder and those type of things. And it was almost to the point I almost believed that, because I was so battered by the system, battered by money, battered by all these different things, without realizing, like, I can do all these things. I'm perfectly capable of doing it. And I am an artist. I don't need to sell $1 million piece of art today to be called an artist. I can just start creating every single day. And one thing I truly realized about myself and my core is I am an artist in every single thing I do. The art of parenting, being a dad, just like as you've seen a lot. I want to master that. I want to be sitting as a grandpa one day in my rocking chair and to be known worldwide, nationwide, statewide, or even neighborhood wide that this guy really studied the art of doing this and what works and what doesn't work, and am able to relay and inspire other fathers out there to realize the importance of us in the home, right? So the art of that, the art of this conversation. When I was getting into real estate myself, that's all it is. Real estate's just networking, like, hey, nice to meet you. And that handshake turns into a $200,000 deal that makes a lot of people a lot of different money. So it's the art of conversation, the art of being a father, the art of painting, digital art, music, which is, even if you look on my Twitter page right now, my most recent drop that I created was me trying to combine as many of those together as possible, because I also like photography. I like digital art. I downloaded Ableton and I made a beat because I wanted to learn how to make lo-fi music. So I took
Nice.
all these, I took all these things and made one piece, and I called it the multi-medium because of, like, this, like, oh, I'm working on my photography, I'm working on my digital art, I'm working on making beats. I'm like, I can just make them all one thing, and that's just, like, kind of goes into this whole ethos of who I am. Like, I don't want to live in this box of, like, I'm a painter, I'm a digital artist, I'm this, I'm that. No, I can be all those things at once, and I can do it abundantly. So that's a style I'm really have been working on a lot more lately, and kind of to give whoever's listening a better idea of where I'm at right now and what kind of led me here.
I love that, man. I love how you're taking your creativity and you're using it in a positive way, where you're expressing yourself not only as an artist but as a father, and you're not putting any limits to your creativity. You want to try something and you're giving it a go. A lot of people, it's like you're saying, like, a lot of people don't think that they're capable of doing things because they're just, I don't like to say program because I feel like people overuse that too much, but they get it in their head based on what they see online or stories that they get, or the information people share with them, that it makes it, you always hear people say it's impossible or it's too expensive or you don't know this or that's too hard. There's not enough people out there telling you, yo, just give it a shot. You never know. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you're saying,
Yep.
that handshake, that phone call, that conversation could lead to something else that is that moment that you need. You know what I mean? And I feel I'm a strong believer in being prepared for anything, in the sense that whenever you have that opportunity, who knows, those sleepless nights that you put in trying to learn a new program or trying to perfect something that you're working on and that you have interest in, when you have that opportunity, you get randomly from a person that you just met, or when you post up something and that person that actually has the money or has the time or has the connections that you don't have sees it, that's all it really takes nowadays. With the power of the internet, I strongly believe that anything is possible. All those limits that we gave ourselves don't exist anymore. Like, everything used to be, it's like you said, you have to go to school, you don't have to do none of that shit no more. A lot of people like to think that that's what it is, and honestly, instead of looking at it as a hurdle to go over, they look at it like a wall that they can't pass. And it always takes that person such as yourself or such as Neo, all these other creators that we know from in the community that we interact with, that give us that motivation or that boost. And it makes us look at it not in a negative way, but we look at it like, yo, if they did it, they definitely do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many people that come from less than what we have, or have more going on to hold them back than we do, and they make it through all that. You know what I'm saying? So I always look at it like, if those people are able to do it, despite how young they started or how late they started or how much money they had or how many followers or how many, like, all of that are just excuses, I feel, that we give ourselves to try to hold us back. And it sucks because it's us talking to us. You know what I'm saying? We already have enough people being negative with us, telling us we can't do something, or they like to, share an idea. Instead of looking at like, yo, you got potential, you can make it happen. They like to point out all the bad things. Like, yeah, but do you have the money? Did you go to school? Do you have the time? Do you have, and all those things, honestly, are I feel like are coming from people who have already killed their dreams and already have nothing but doubt, whether it's that they feed it to themselves or they have they're around with, or a group of people that they're around that kill their passion, kill their dreams and their drive. But when you have people such as yourself that like to ignore all that and cut that out, and really, even if you only have one person tuning in or one person giving you that boost of confidence, or whether it's your kids rooting you on, that's all you need, bro. You need that one person, that one good thing. If we paid less attention and less time on the negative stuff and focused on the good things we have going on and the positive aspects of our life, bro, we would get so much further in life than we did when we're just dragging ourselves down thinking of all the negative crap. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%. And like, it's funny you say that, because I realized this while I'm parenting. A lot of the things that I'm teaching my kids, I realized that I have to stop practicing myself. And that's even one of them, is just like that realization, like how much limits have I put on myself or have allowed others to put onto me, and I actually believe them, or I allowed it to become some type of fact of reality or science or whatever it is. Like, that's your reality, that's not my reality, and reality is constantly changing, and you can kind of bend it at will if you're tenacious enough, if you're willing to go along those limits. And I teach my kids that, and I find myself having to like really self-reflect and be like, hey, you need to practice that more, you need to be more grateful, these type of things that I'm relaying to my kids. And also, I just saw this earlier. The co-founder of Airbnb was talking about how what like got him to where he is, and he was saying how one of the things that really helped him get to where he was going was the people that was around him, because it's the other people he built the business with, they believed in him. They told him that, like, we saw the potential in you when you had your crazy idea, we believed in you. So we knew no matter how crazy this idea sounds, how out the box it is, and how much it doesn't make sense in a practical application, we're still going to believe in you because we know you, we know your intention with this, and we know that whether win or lose, we believe in you. And he said, like, he realized at that moment that he didn't even believe himself as much as they believed in him. And that's where the alignment came in, where he started to believe himself as much as the people that was around him. And that was a blessed position for him to be in. And that's why you see such a successful company like Airbnb. And that's why those things are rare. It's not supposed to be a thing that's so common, because it takes that level of dedication and understanding to know, like, hey, maybe that person isn't good for me. I love them, but I need to love them from a distance right now. And I need to get around more people like this person who believes in me and tells me they believe in me and tells me they have love for me, and this type of camaraderie. Like, I think about you know him as well, Ben Kind. He
Yes.
he always writes, "I believe in you." And he gave me some cards once, and gave me a little thing from his hidden village that says, "I believe in you." And I look at that sometimes, and it gives me, it makes me feel better about myself, because I know I sought out these type of people. This is why I came to this community. This is why yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
this is why, like, I wanted to connect with people like yourself. People like, that's what brought me even towards like the V Friends community. Of course, I was in just NFTs and Web3 and all these other things because there was great financial opportunity, but there were other aspects to it like that where I was looking for a more positive community. I was looking for more people that have these type of attributes where they believe in it and they pour into people rather than extract from. And there's this level of everybody's pouring into each other and growing from each other and giving each other resources. And I also wanted to be a part of that and give my value in whatever I can do. So that's even what started the whole Dad Bob and the twins, because I was like, how can I provide value back to this community? And it's, to build within it. And what am I good at? And one thing that I dedicate myself to every day, whether I'm the best artist in the world, whether I'm the best salesperson in the world, brother, son, whatever, I'm gonna be a great father. No matter what I'm gonna do, and when I fail is as a father, I know that that's a part of becoming the best father. And I'm also open with them with that. We actually had that conversation like 3 days ago where I was like, I made a mistake, and I sat down with them and I was like, how did that make you feel? How can I do better next time? What do you think caused this? And we had a real conversation. It's crazy because they're 8-year-olds, but we had like this intellectual conversation about how we felt about things and what's the logic of it and how can we find a balance in between those, because I think that's also important in the dad and daughter dynamic about like their natural emotional nurturing spirits and men's natural need to try to fix things and to put
Yes.
logical solutions on emotional problems, when that's a terrible idea, because there is no logic in love. If you weigh love on a logical scientific scale, there's no logic there. It doesn't make sense that me and this person spent a little time and now it doesn't, it's not truly explainable, because you could just push them away. There's a lot of people you said you loved that aren't probably around you anymore. And that's when I came to realize that there's no law. It's just true feeling. It's true heart. It's the brain and the heart and the balance in between, which I said this to the girls the other day, is your brain's here, your heart's here, and your mouth is here. So your communication is how you balance those two. So you want to make sure the words that you're saying to each other you're very careful with those words, and understand that impression, that really light thing that you said to them, could be something that they hold for the rest of their lives and shape who they are as a human. But to you, it was just a casual, like, let's say you get angry and you tell them, like, you tell them to shut up. Like, to you, like, that's not a huge deal. It's just shut up. But like to them, that's like, my dad told me to shut, and like that, they're gonna hold that.
100%.
That's gonna shape them. They might even become more self-conscious because of that. They might lose some confidence because of that. So I'm very mindful of these type of things as I'm maneuvering as a parent as well.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you, man. With everything you're saying, I could relate, man. I have an 8-year-old son and I have a 12-year-old daughter.
Mm.
And my daughter in October is going to be 13. My son in September is going to be 9. And with my daughter, she's a lot older, and I was able, because it's tricky. It's
Hmm.
tricky raising a daughter, and you have 2 of them. So I know you understand. You know what I'm saying? As a guy, it's like we're ready for a boy because we already know what to expect and stuff. But when it comes to
Hmm.
a girl, it's not that we don't know what to expect, but it's totally different because we really don't know in the way that they think. You know what I mean? It's just like you're saying, it's an emotional thing, and as men, we like to fix everything. We want to fix the problem. We want to know what's wrong. We want to know what's bothering you, what's getting you upset, and we want to fix it, especially with our little girls. And sometimes it's not that easy. We like to make it seem like it's just an easy, I'm sorry, or don't worry about it. It's not that. It's like you're saying, especially when they're females, not to say that they're more sensitive, but when they're younger, it's a lot different when they're being told something in a different tone of voice from their dad. You know, daddy's the hero. Daddy's, you know, everything. So that one shut up or that one be cool, that look or something like that could be the biggest thing to them, especially as a kid. It's already, as a kid, you know, hearing someone yell at you or tell you to stop or calm down or whatever, to us it's just like a spur of the moment thing, and we look at, oh, don't worry, they're fine. But then little do we know they go to sleep angry, and then that anger or that upsetness or that the hurt feelings last for like a week, and then, you know, they're moping around the house or they're acting differently toward you, and it's like, us, we're already grown. It's like a thing like, yo, it's not that serious, get over it. But then, like, the more we think about it as a kid, you know, they're not interacting with other adults like that. So for one adult to yell at them or to say something sternly, it weighs heavy on them. It affects the way that they look at you or they think at them. I mean, you gotta think of it like, how are they receiving this? What are they thinking about? How does it make them change? And another thing too, especially when, you know, I was with the mother of my kids when I had my daughter, so we lived in the same house. I was there a lot more frequently. Like, I was there throughout the whole baby stage and everything. Around that with my son is when we split up, so it was very complicated. You know what I mean? We did the whole co-parent thing, and that thing really messed me up, because it's like I said, with my daughter, I was there and I was nurturing, and I, like, every little step I was there. For my son, it was difficult. You know what I mean? It was difficult to find that and to have that time. So it's hard to know how much you should show affection or care or speak to them, and how much you should just let them learn by themselves, especially when, you know, you have limited time with them based on what the situation is. And then you got to try to think about, because, like, I mentioned this a lot on my podcast with people, I don't know what it's like. You know what I mean? When I was growing up, I come from a Spanish household. That whole thing of you being with the mother of your kids and not being with you is that doesn't exist. Like, no matter what it is, you're together. Even if you're not married, you're together. You're married, that's your wife, and you make it work and you figure it out. So I was never able to comprehend or understand what goes through the mind of my kids dealing with that situation, going and to mommy's and then to daddy's house the next day, or sleeping here and sleeping there, or only spending certain time and then having to drive or get picked up and dropped off. And all those things as a young kid, it starts changing the way they look and they think about things. You know what I mean? And then on top of that, when you have an instance where you have to punish them or something like that to let them know, and you do that, it weighs heavy on you, because then the rest of the day, if you're not with them, you're like, yo, are they still thinking about it? Did they think that I'm really mad at them? So it's like all those things mess you up. And then, so it's like, it's just an unbalance of all these different emotions mixing in this pot that you don't know when it's going to spill over, or if it's going to crack in half and never be able to get put back together. So you're always in the back of your mind, like, am I doing too much? Am I doing too little? Am I doing enough? You know what I mean? So it messes you up. And then when you got to try to balance that with, at the same time, trying to get them ready for what to experience and what to expect in life, it's hard to find that balance, man. So I totally understand what you're saying, man, because that weighs heavy on me too. And I try having conversations with my kids the best that I can without trying to put too much energy into it, where they think it's too much of a serious thing, where it's like, all right, listen, the situation is whatever, but it's more about how are you feeling? You know, what are you thinking? How are you feeling? How did you take it? And it's like you say, man, I applaud you on that, where, excuse me, where you sit there and you tell them, like, yo, like, let's talk about it. Like, how did you feel? How can I go about it differently the next time? Not a lot of parents do that. And I feel like a big part of that is our generation didn't have that. You know, now it's talked about a lot. Now we have people that are willing to share their stories and be open. And whether it's creating content or jumping online or even just talking about it amongst friends or whatever, it's more acceptable to be open about your feelings nowadays, where before it was a thing that was unspoken. Like, you don't show your emotions, you don't speak about that. You let them learn the hard way, let them figure it out. If they fall, let them pick themselves back up. If they're crying, don't worry, they'll stop. Like, it's little things like that that we grew up with, that now that we have our kids and we have the role of a parent, we want to avoid that, because we know that messed us up in some type of way, where it's either one, we didn't like it, or we felt we didn't get enough attention or enough love. So I completely agree with you on that, man. And that's why I respect a lot of the things that you're doing, because everything that you do, no matter what you're sharing, it shows that you're doing it from a point and a perspective of a father that just wants to do something to show other people, like, look, like, from the content you make with your daughters, show this, and you want to make stuff, you could do it with your kids. Or
Yep.
if not, you give out your tip, like your parent tips and your dad tips and all that stuff of like how to be more active with your kids and how to get more connected with them and how to, be more open with them and have conversation. Like all those things I love because I feel like there's not enough people that share it publicly. There's enough
Yeah.
people that do it, but you don't hear about it a lot. We hear about all the other glorified stuff, you know what I'm saying, that we see and hear every day, and like, oh, they took them to the movies or they took them out to eat or whatever, but no one goes in detail to us like, all right, it's more than just a day where I went out and took a picture, like, look, I'm with my kids. It's like, yo, I'm
Right.
spending quality time, I'm teaching them something, I'm listening to them, I'm learning more about them. That's something that a lot of us didn't get when we were growing up. We didn't have someone to really listen to us and talk to us. We just had people
Yep.
tell us what to do and what not to do. So that's why when I see a lot of your stuff, I love the relationship you have with your twins, man. I love how open you are, the way you speak with them, the way that you get them to not be, scared and express themselves and try
Hmm.
different things, you know what I mean? From creating art to also being on camera and making content with you to having the garage sales and all these little things, whether they have a bad experience, a good experience, whatever, it's all a learning experience where they get
Yep.
to have firsthand with you, and you can kind of sit there with them and guide them a bit where when that time comes that they have to do it by themselves later on in life, they at least have that little skin in the game, you know what I'm saying? And that little bit of
Yeah.
experience will be like, I remember doing this with daddy. I remember daddy
Yep.
told me this. I remember. So they're not scared, and they're a little bit prepared for it. And two, they're not going to hesitate as much because they're going to feel confident that, you know what, my dad taught me this or my mom taught me, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But I really applaud you for that, man. I really respect you for all the things you're doing when it comes to that, man.
For sure, and I appreciate that, and that it comes from a lot of circumstances, and it's like turning negatives into positives. Like you say, our generation didn't have that at all. Like that was just completely left out. But then that was also me realizing there's a balance in that, because sometimes, let's say you had a very, very nurturing, caring couple of parents, um, and then that caused you a bunch of problems as a kid because maybe they were too overbearing or too strict, and then you decided to rebel, and then you end up becoming the bad kid, and then the bad kid ends up having kids, and they're like, shit, well, that didn't work, so I have to try the complete opposite thing, and it starts building these cycles. And
Yeah,
generational cycles are the downfall of so many different families because people don't realize these
100%.
things. They don't address them. They don't take. No, there's accountabilities being pointed. Dad did it, mom did it, dad did it, mom did it, and I was blessed with that perspective because I was able to think freely. I always tell my mom one of the greatest things she'd ever given me in this life, next to life itself, was the ability to think for myself. She didn't indoctrinate me in any way. She took me to church and stuff, but I think that was a good set of base morals to start your children on, is just maybe not religion, but just understanding faith and belief and love and appreciation and gratitude, those type of things, right? But like in wise of like who I am as a person, it was just like be who you are, be truly who you are, and that's one of my mom's greatest qualities that I always give her credit to. And I think that's one of the realizations of parenting is you just need to be very self-aware and accountable of that. Like, am I projecting my childhood onto my children? And like, am I doing that in a positive way or a negative way? And I tell every parent this. I think the best formula is you should take everything good your parents did on both sides, double down on that, and what they didn't do and what they didn't do well at, fix it. And then you'll have a decent base. You're not going to be perfect, but that's a decent base to work with. So like for myself, I realized like as raising girls, I'm going to have to be the bad guy a lot of the time. Their mother's kind of like she's just a loving mother. I'll just leave it at that. She's just a loving mother, and that she offers them love, but she doesn't really offer them structure or stability or a foundation to build off of. And I realized, like, okay, well, if I'm going to have to be the bad guy from age 10 to 18 while they're going through that stage in their life, I'm totally down to do that. But I just need to do it in a way. I told them this the other day because their mother doesn't talk to her father. So they keep up, where's Pop Pops? Where's Pop Pops? Why don't we see Pop Pops anymore? And they're bringing this to me. And I was like, girls, sometimes people don't get along, and maybe they'll get along later in life, or maybe they don't, because not everybody's going to be for everybody. But what you guys need to understand, that if I'm ever wrong about something and you guys don't want to talk to me, I'm going to be outside of your door with a boombox saying, please forgive me. Please forgive me. And like, I made it into a joke. So they ended up laughing about it. But they also had that realization, like, oh, no matter what we go through, because we're going to go through shit, is daddy's going to be there, and I'm going to be apologetic. I'm not going to allow my ego to dictate my relationship with my children, because my father goes through that with my sister. My kid's mother's father goes through that with her, and they're witnessing these things, right? They know about these things, and they understand that. So I have to be the one to kind of, give the context there, and to also give them that firsthand experience of like, hey, you're going to be mad at me. That's just the reality of it, because I'm here to be responsible for you. I'm here to protect you. I'm here to guide you, and I'm here to care for you. So you're going to be mad at me because I'm going to have to tell you no a lot. But the reality is, no matter how many times that's the case, I'm going to always be there. And whether you like it or not, I told him, I was like, if you guys tell me I can't be 100 feet from you, I will be 101 feet waiting there until you allow me back in. And that's just the reality of it. And I think that's important to kind of build that structure with your kids of like, hey, I'm not perfect. I'm going to mess up. I'm going to make mistakes. If one of your friends comes in with colored hair and I'm like, hey, what's up with Rainbow Head? And now everyone's mad at me. I'm going to apologize to Rainbow Head, but I'm also going to be like, hey, that's just who I am. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt their feelings. And I hope you forgive me. Because I'm me as well. And that's another thing I relate to them is my little brother said this quote to me, and it really helped me during a really stressful time. And it helped me deal with my relationship with my parents, and it helped me deal with the way I view myself. Is this is their first time being parents. This is my first time being a parent. This is the first life we've lived from what we know. I'm sure we've had other spiritual experiences. Maybe you're in reincarnation and you believe those type of things, but it's your first time doing this. Like, give a little grace there about like, hey, they may have fucked up, but nobody's perfect at this. This isn't like a textbook thing, because you could write a book on parenting, I could write a book on parenting, and our books are going to be completely different. But are
100%.
either of them going to be wrong books? No. There's going to be wrong for different people, and they're going to be right for different people, because we all live such unique lives. So it's like that, like, really took a weight off my shoulder. Like, I got to stop being so hard on my parents for whatever I think they did wrong. And I also got to stop being hard on myself for all the things I'm probably doing wrong that I don't realize I'm doing wrong. So it's just perspective, man. Perspective and perception. It's a beautiful thing.
100%, man. I agree with you on that. It does. Those are things, man, that I feel like we don't learn. Like, despite people telling us, it's that thing, like, where it's like you mentioned earlier, man. It's those things that you don't notice, you got to pay attention to, and that you really need to update and upgrade until the time comes. And in the moment, you're like, all right, I noticed that this needs some work, and that I gotta, like, the Wi-Fi and everything. It's those things that it's not until it happens that it really hits you, and you get that firsthand experience. Like, damn, I need to pay attention to this. This needs my attention. I need to change it a little bit. I can't keep going about it the way that I was. And it puts things in perspective for us, in the sense of, like you're saying, we think about the things we went through and how our parents were going through it through the first time, and now we're doing it and we're experiencing it. And it sucks because it doesn't really hit you until you're like, damn, like, now I know why mom and dad were stressed out at this point, or why I was such a hard-headed person or a hard-headed kid around this age. And it's not until it comes full circle back around that we're like, all right, I get it. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. And it takes a while, but it's one of those things that you need to go through it. You got to make your mistakes. You got to experience it firsthand. And that's the best way I believe, for anyone to learn anything, is your firsthand experience, is to make your mistakes and to learn from it. Instead of looking at it like, I messed up, I can't fix it. There's always a way to make something out of nothing, regardless of how bad it is or how good it turns out. You can always make it better. You can always improve on it. And when it comes to raising kids, we overcomplicate this, because we look at it like, yo, we only got one shot at this. You know what I'm saying? But we forget that they're growing up, man. They're going to grow up in this many years, and And it's just, we want to be there for every aspect of it. You know what I mean? And then when we start realizing how much of a bitch time is, man, and how it runs like this. When we were younger, we felt like it was going to go on forever. And now that we're older, we feel like time is just on crack and it's just freaking racing, bro. And it's like we seeing our kids like growing up faster, and that they're experiencing new things, and they're getting over the. It's like me. One thing I'm having a hard time really wrapping my head around. My daughter's at that age where like she's just over. She's like, I'll be like, hey baby, how you doing? Yeah, hi daddy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And in my mind for a while, I'm like, yo, I did something. Like she's annoyed with me or whatever. But then it started hitting me. I'm like, bro, it's not that. She's getting in her teenage years. She's to the point where she's too cool for her parents, and she wants to go, you know what I mean, be on her phone and go hang out with her friends. And I'm so used to the little girl that just wants to be home that when I would see her, she would always come and run to me. And it's like, those days are over. You know what I'm saying? Like, I still have my little girl, but at the same time, it's like you have to start. It's hard to start realizing, like, yo, that gap or that big chunk of time that, you know, they were so young and like, oh, daddy, this, and they don't. Now it's like they're thinking for themselves. They're looking up things themselves. They don't need to ask you nothing because you can just jump on their phone or their tablet and figure out whatever it is without you, you know, babying them. Like, listen, this is this and this is. They're like, yeah, I already know that. I googled it, and so it's hard to compete with that. From their age and how fast growing up, and especially how fast society moves now compared to how it was when we were growing up. Like the things that we were learning at 19 and 20, these kids are learning now at 9 and 10. You know what I mean? So it's like everything is totally different. So it's like, not only are you trying to adapt to being a parent and to your kids growing up, but at the same time trying to balance that with the way that society is and what they're going to be exposed to at an early age. And you always question, am I doing it right? Am I not doing it enough? So that's the thing, like right and wrong. You're always balancing that in your head. And it's like, you really, there's, it's like you're saying, there's no right or wrong way to do it. Everyone's going to have their own way to go about it, depending on their situation and their upbringing and what they feel is right and what they truly feel for their kids, you know? But at the same time, it's like you mentioned, I don't think there's a wrong way to raise your kids. You know what I mean? There's people that put in the time and effort to show their kids and teach their kids right from wrong and how to be respectful and everything. And like you're saying, also, there's other people that they just pass on that generational curse type thing where it's like they have those bad habits. They don't have that safe space where they can really express themselves or talk about how they're feeling or what's on their mind and how they feel and think about certain things that happen or how you treat them and how you speak. Like, it's totally different. We have an opportunity to change that and show our kids, like, look, there's more to life than just this, and there's other ways to go about this, and there's other things that happen and consequences. And we didn't have that. You know, for us, it was more about, listen, you live through this and this time, and then once you out of high school, like, that's it. You're on your own. Go figure it out or whatever. But like, now we look at it like, yo, we just want to be there so much and just protect our kids because we know how crazy the world can be. But it's like, with the way things are now, we never know if, like, did I prepare them enough? Are they ready? Do they know enough? Are they? You get what I'm saying? It's a scary thing.
I'm gonna have to holler at you when my girls get to that 12 zone, and because I just like pictured in my head like them saying, "Yeah, whatever, Dad. Yeah, whatever."
Yeah,
girl.
Yeah, man. I deal with that. There's sometimes I'm talking to my daughter, man, and she gets really snippy, man. She has my attitude. She's like, yeah. And I look at her, I'm like, what? She'd be like, I'm just saying, Daddy, yeah, I'll get it. She's like, and then like, I'll talk to her later on. Like, if we're around people, I let it slide because I know other people know too, like, oh, she's at that age. But I try not to react like, all right, I got to punish her. I just look at it like, all right, she's getting to that age. And then I talk to her later, like, listen, did I do something? No, why? And they're few, like, to them, it's like us, the same way that we kind of brush off that, hey, shut up, and it's not a big deal until later on it starts, like, you know, marinating in our head. It's the same the other way with our kids, but they don't notice it because to them it's just like, oh, whatever, forget it, leave me alone. So then it hurts our feelings. We look at it like, yo, what the hell did I do to you? You give me attitude for no reason. And then like talk, and she'll express, Daddy, it's just annoying that every time you ask me how was my day, I'm like, but baby, I always do. Yeah, you always do every day for the past whatever years. And then she'll express herself. I'm a big girl now. I know how to handle myself. I know how to. Literally, she's not, but she has that mindset.
I know. Yeah,
you know what I mean? So it takes that thing where I have to sit and be like, baby, well, when we're in front of people and stuff, You wouldn't like me to talk to you like that and tell you shut up and don't worry about it and I'll talk to you later. And bro, you wouldn't like that, right? You would think I'm being
Right.
okay. So you have to understand when you're doing that to your father or your mother or an adult, that's disrespectful. They're older than you, they know more than you, they have more experience. You have to be patient. You gotta know how annoyed you are. You need to really analyze the situation, the area that you're in, and your surroundings, and understand that there's consequences for that. Because I may understand how you're being, but anyone else passing by or anyone else that's in that situation doesn't really know you, and they'll look at it like you're just a mean, rude little girl, and you don't want people to do that, right?
Yep.
Because
Yep.
then you try to be
And
nice
that,
to them, they're gonna react like that to you. So it's little things like that that they haven't experienced yet. Along with
yeah.
my son's at that age now where he just loves to talk and he'll make up
Mhm.
stories and he'll say all this stuff, and I'll be like, Austin, that didn't happen. Why are you? Yeah, but you weren't there. And then, all right, so show me. Oh, I deleted it. I forgot. And I do those things on purpose. I'd rather him get embarrassed at doing those things with me than for
Yep.
him going through what I did as a kid, making up stories and trying to impress people and getting embarrassed in school, on
Yep.
the bus,
Yep.
and on different areas where it's like, I learned that, but the hard way. And it's those type of things that I'm like, I want to pass that down to my kids so they don't have to learn that the hard way. You get what I'm saying? So it's like,
I think
I
that's
tell
an
my,
underrated thing you just said. Sorry to interrupt, but I think
nah,
that's a
nah, good.
great. I think that's a great. That's a great thing that I think is disappearing. And I'll speak for this country, but like the idea of shame, and you shouldn't view yourself identity wise in like a shameful way. You shouldn't be, if you did something embarrassing or you did something that wasn't favorable or maybe had people look at you differently. There's sometimes there's reasons for that, you know, like if you do something that's like has everybody looking at you crazy, maybe you did something that was kind of crazy and you should evaluate yourself and start making some changes and to view yourself in that way. But there's no shame anymore, and I think that's kind of a cultural thing in America where it's like there's no, like if somebody wants to disrespect their parents in front of everybody, like all the other kids are going to rally that on because they're doing the same thing. But if you think about like I think about countries like Japan, where it's like there's that level of like neighborhood and family and respect. Like, hey, I'm not going to do this in public because I wouldn't want my mom to go to the supermarket and have all the other moms look at her crazy because of what I did, you know. And that's because of the the idea that there's this level of shame and embarrassment that would come to my family and the people that respect, love, and are around me based on my actions and how I handle scenarios. And I think that's just gone out the window these days. And I think it's kind of become a cultural thing. So it's like our kids are they're gonna reap the the influence of that culture that's around them when they're at school and when they're with their friends, where they don't feel a level of shame at all for, let's say, like they disrespect an elder at their school and all the kids laugh because they thought it was funny, right? And now that became the precedent of, oh, I'm funny because I treated this old person terribly, and now they treat old people terribly, and they think that's an okay thing to do. But you get a call back home, and you're heartbroken. Like, I,
Yeah.
I raised my kid this. Like, what am I doing wrong? Like, what is happening? And I think that's an idea of like letting your kids make enough mistakes and kind of shaming them a little bit, like not making them feel bad
100%.
about themselves and making them understand that's not who they are, that's not their identity, that's not that I don't take it personally. I still love them, I won't look at them differently, they're not a bad person, but you need to understand your actions have consequences. You know, you need to be accountable
100%.
for those and realize that they don't just affect you. For my daughters, I have to talk about it all the time because they're twins. So I tell them, like, everything your sister does is going to start reflecting on you and vice versa. So, like, if they say Leah's acting this way, they might start viewing Stasia this way, and then vice versa. If you do something, you guys represent each other as a unit, you know. So, not only do you have to protect each other, have each other's backs, and be there for each other, but you also got to represent each other well. And it's not that we care what other people think, it's just more of a respect thing because the main principle, and they know this because I repeat it so much, is we treat others how we would like to be treated. And if you just live upon these guidelines, you will do fine in society. You will do fine in the real world because you will treat people that way. And don't allow how others treat people to dictate how you handle yourself because you're an individual. You're not influenced by others' actions. And that's what I've always felt that as my superpower. Like even when I was in the streets, I've saved us on so many occasions because I wasn't a hothead in situations where things got hot, and I was able to be cool, calm, and collected and get us out of there. And if I
Yo,
didn't, we might not be able to have this conversation because I understand and I've been through enough of those situations to know like this ain't gonna end well, and this is all ego, this is all pride. None of this is
yo,
real. This is none of
yo,
this is none of this is truly built in anything. If they hurt one of ours or we hurt one of theirs, then there's something there, right? Like
yeah,
then we gotta fix this somehow in some way. But if it's like, yo, you stepped on my shoes, like it's like, oh, my fault, bro, my fault, my fault. I'll watch where I'm going next time. I don't got enough. I killed that part of my ego where I can say that to another grown man now and not feel any less
yo,
about myself. So it's like these type of things are important to understand. I'm trying to help my girls relay that as well, but also understanding that girls are a lot more different because girls
yeah,
might be like, if you step on her shoes, that is a problem now. That is like
yo,
that. That is like somebody hurt one of ours. So it's real. And I got to understand that there's some things that I tell them, like, y'all got to go through that yourself. Maybe go talk to mommy, go talk to Nana, go talk to Mimi, go talk to Titi Manda. Like, talk to other female, like women in our life that understand these type of things more than daddy does. I can give you my advice how I would handle it as a man, but I don't understand how girls may react to these things differently than us because I might be able to have that encounter and that dude who I stepped on his shoes, he might feel tougher than me, but that the fact that he feels tougher than me right now just possibly saved my life or saved me from doing a bid. So it's like
exactly.
it's those type of understandings, and it's a blessing. And it even goes back to what I was saying earlier about like how much circumstance really does build you. Like me making so many mistakes as a kid, now I'm a much more upstanding citizen when I needed to be as a father. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Like, it's a blessing.
I I agree with you, man. I was the same way too, and it's that's something I'm not gonna lie. I've have even till this day, man. I still have a very very hard time wrapping my head around stuff like that, and it
Hmm.
takes like I said, it's those moments where I know my kids do things and I catch them on it that it's like you're saying, like, you don't try you don't get upset about it and you don't let really like, get you like, oh my God, I can't believe you did this. At the same time, it's something that you're like, damn, like I thought we went over this. I thought we had this covered. Clearly we don't. And I need to spend more time on this subject with you, or
Yep.
I need to just get you to know the hard way because I tried telling you the nice way. Now you got to learn the hard way through embarrassment that's not what you do. Because
Yep.
it's like we had to go through those things and get embarrassed or really mess up for us to be like, damn, like I can't do this again, or I know the right and wrong place where I should act up or say something, or this got me punched in the face and this got me jumped and this
Yep.
got me robbed, or it's all those things that you don't want them to experience. So once you see that first sign of like, nope, that's gonna lead to this situation and I've dealt with that, nah, not with me, that's not happening. So you try to
Yep.
stop before it gets to that point. And it's like the best way that you can do it, as much as it sucks, is to have them get embarrassed. Like I feel like that's, as a kid, the only way that they really learn is through messing up and learning from their mistakes. But when it comes to those things where they cross the line of respect and stuff, those are the best moments where it's like you want them to learn by being embarrassed a little bit. Be like, listen, you messed up. You shouldn't have said that. You shouldn't have did that. You shouldn't have yelled at your teacher, your uncle, your grandma, whatever. There's reasons for it. And it's not until they go through that little level of embarrassment that they're like, you know what, you're right, daddy. And then it really sinks to them, because we can keep telling kids a million times, don't touch that, you're going to burn yourself. Don't touch that, you're
Yep.
going to break it. Don't be careful, you're going to fall. Because yeah, huh? They just goes one in and out the other. But then once they break it and they burn themselves and they fall and they break an ankle or a leg or some shit or their finger, then it's, oh, my leg. What did I tell you? Didn't I tell you? Like I told you 100 times, and 100 times you're like, yeah. Now you know. Now you know for a
Yep.
fact. You don't gotta tell them no more. Or you gotta be like, remember last time? They'll be like, yeah, you're right, and they'll
Yep.
sit there and they just, you know what I mean? It's things like that it really doesn't hit us, and then it takes us back to a kid like, damn, I remember when my parents were telling me things like that, like, don't do that, you're gonna get hurt, or save your money, you're gonna need it, or like be patient, or don't talk when someone's not talking to you, be respectful, and it's not until we get those firsthand experiences where we either embarrass ourselves or do a mistake or we hurt ourselves in any way that it hits us like, now I get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like we try our best to find a way, and I feel like there's no trick to it. We try our best to find a way to give that experience to our kids without them actually experiencing it, because we're like, we don't want them to be embarrassed, we don't want them to get hurt, we don't want them. But it's one of those things that I feel like no matter what, it's gonna happen. It probably won't be as bad as it was for us, but I feel like they're gonna experience that embarrassment, that pain, that hurt, that emotional thing. Like, it's gonna come in one way, shape, or form, because it's the only way that they're really gonna learn and experience it and be like, you know what, I get it. Because I strongly believe that no matter how many times we sit down with our kids and tell them in any different combination ways, even if we draw them a picture or show them a video and give them a map and blueprint, like, look, this is the cheat sheet to life. This is so you don't have to deal with stress and drama and any bullshit. Like, but no matter what, they're always gonna find, they'll be like, yeah, I got everything. And then next thing you know, right, they'll right out the gate, they're just doing exactly what you said not to do. And they're like, but no, there's no but. I just told you to do that, and now you know why not. Like, it sucks, but it's those that is, as a parent, we can't do nothing but try our best to share from our experience and try our best to give them that knowledge. And it's like the rest is up to you. And as much as we want to be there, like just with our hands out, making sure that they don't fall or trip, no one bumps into them, is bound to happen, man. You know what I mean? And it exactly. And it sucks. It sucks to know that no matter what, they're going to experience it one day or another, that we're not always going to be around. And we just have to trust that we did our job as parents to teach them enough and talk to them enough and listen to them enough that we're like, all right, they're ready, or they understand. Or so I agree with you on that, man. I totally agree. I feel like a lot of us need that. We need to have that experience, and we need to stop sugarcoating it, and we need to let our kids go through that, and we got to be there more. We got to let them know, like, listen, we got to be the ones, as messed up as it is, to tell them you messed up and do it right. You know what I mean? And you got to do better, because it's better for them to hear from us and for us to be the heavy than for it to be another random person or someone else who, you know, truly doesn't care about their future or what their feelings are, how they're thinking things, or any of that. Like, they'll just look at it like, ah, this kid's annoying or whatever, and it's just shut up, and they say whatever, and that stays in their head. You know what I mean? We had that growing up. I feel like, you know, just like Nacho was saying right here, you know what I'm saying, in the 90s, if you ever got hurt, my mom would say, go get hurt again and see it. See, that's true. That's the way it is. They'd be like, all right, go ahead, go do it again, go hurt yourself, go find the harm. You know what I'm saying? So I agree with you on that, man. Before we need deep, I want to get into the background of creativity, man. And I wanted to dive into your creativity, your creative journey, on how did you get into art and writing, and how does your passion connect with your role as a dad and the things that you do with your daughters and everything? How do you find a way to connect all that with creativity, as well as instilling those good values and showing your kids that it's okay to express yourselves and to try different things?
Well, a background for myself, like, art was the only thing I ever did good. Like, and by good, I mean my level of good, like what I considered good, but like in school, like failed every other class. But you know what I mean? Like, only my art teachers, though, Mr. Nice is the only woman only teacher that left an impression on me truly, because she actually cared and knew what I was going through at home and knew what I was going through in my life, and chose to pour into what she saw. Was like, this kid is a creative. This kid needs more guidance in this area. And she was the only one who did it. Everybody else was just telling me there's something wrong with me. And to the point, I built an identity around that. But creatively, like, always, like, since I could remember, you know, as furthest I remember, I was painting and just drawing and drawing. Drew pretty much. I feel like I've drawn mostly every day of my life. Like, mostly every day I've been alive, I've minimally done a doodle. I just really love to express myself through different creative lenses. Like, even discovering rap music was like hitting the jackpot for me. Like, listening to Rakim and Eminem early on, and Busta Rhymes and Kumo D, and just like listening to these early artists and like getting into hip hop was like, wow, this is a place that like celebrates creatives and people who don't fit in, and people who may not have it like everyone else has it, that might be around them, is not all the way there, you know. And is able to express themselves freely and be celebrated for it. Because when I'd express myself, I wasn't celebrated. I was sidelined and outlawed and put to the side. It's like, oh, this kid's a problem. Oh, there's something wrong with this kid. To the point where it's like, accountability wise. And it's a funny thing about accountability. I think about this often. Like, it's hard to have a kid be accountable because a kid doesn't know anything. As an adult, we need to be accountable. So in retrospect, I'm accountable that I should have made better decisions. I should have surrounded myself with better people. I should have had a better mindset. Shoulda, coulda, woulda, didda, right? So I'm not dwelling on those things in any form or fashion, but because they made me who I am today. But that's also a big reason why you see me putting a lot of my creative output out there, because I want to find that kid that was like me and tell him or her, fuck all of those people. All those people who make you feel like you're weird or there's something wrong with you, or because you want to do things differently than they're doing it, or you want to wear corduroy pants while everybody's wearing Levi's, and you want to wear Adidas when everyone wears Nike. If you want to do your thing, then do your thing. And if they tell you you're wrong for doing it, then fuck them too. And like that's a big message in my creative process. Like even rapping growing up, like I always rapped like my whole life, pretty much since I was like 9, 10 years old, I was writing raps. And I always felt like as a white rapper, I was like, I'm kind of a guest in this culture, that was created for people who are going through things in this specific demographic. You know what I'm saying? Like for people of African American culture, like that's their culture. I always felt like I didn't really have a place there because of that until I met people that were in hip hop. I was like, no, bro, this culture is for everybody. Just appreciate it. And it was people like that really helped me guide to be like, okay, I just need to find my lane in it. And one thing that I came to realize about writing raps or writing music in general, writing songs or making beats, is just something I enjoy doing. I don't need to put it out. I don't need to become a big rapper. It's not even necessarily a dream of mine. I just enjoy doing it. It's kind of like painting. Like I don't put a lot of my paintings out because that's something I do in my free time when I'm trying to release and just get my creative uh, blur out of my brain onto a piece of paper. The things that I do share is like things that when I create them, I feel like this is stuff other people might like, and I feel like all my art should be that way, but it's just how my brain works and how I decide to distribute it. But I view everything as an art, man, like truly down to the core. Like my creative process is truly like I said, the art of parenting, and that's even what comes into with the girls and me creating with them and them becoming their own little artist. Is like, this is what I do. You guys can do this. If I just give them a lot of freedom, I think that's really what it is. Like I tell them, do what you want to do. Don't try to do what I'm doing. Don't try to be Leonardo da Vinci. Don't try to be this person. Just take whatever you got and put it on paper. Add your own little flavor to it. Mix your own
Love
colors,
it.
and have fun. I just enjoy the process of it. It's like, and it's funny. It goes back into what I was saying earlier. Is I need to listen to more of my own advice because I'm giving them advice, but I struggle with these same things, because being a creative is difficult because you don't want validation, but you want to be valid. You want to be loved and appreciated and valued, in what you do because you love and appreciate it and value it so much. But you also can't chase that. You can't chase that as a creative. You just need to create and build enough self-esteem and confidence and love for yourself that whether it does good or not, it doesn't affect you. So it's like that's one thing I be struggling with the most, because I'll drop an art piece that I put so much of myself into and I'll get one like, and I'll be like, what am I doing wrong, and then I sit back, you're not doing nothing wrong, nothing happened, that's perfectly okay, and it's like sometimes I need to have these realizations, and it's through parenting that I be having these realizations because I'm giving them true advice, true from my heart, that's genuine, but realizing like I need to practice that more as well and set the example for them rather than just tell them these things, so I think that's where I just grow with them. You know, I think that's what makes me a good dad is I grow with my kids. Like I tell them I suck at a lot of things. I don't know a lot of things. If you guys figure this, I tell them all the time, go ask your teacher and then bring that information back to me and let's chop it up. You know, like also tell them all the time, we don't Google everything because not like Google's going to give you one piece of information. ChatGPT will give you another piece of information. Your great grandma will give you a whole different piece of information, you know, and your friends at school are going to give you different pieces of information because life is a spectrum. It's not, there's no straight lines. Nothing's definite. You know, everything's up for interpretation. It's up for you to kind of figure out yourself. So I kind of give them that freedom of like, view life how you want to view it. I'm not here to tell you God's God or Allah's Allah. I'm here to tell you this is God and this is Allah. What do you think about this? What do you think about this? And let them come up with their own view of this world. Because I think it's ignorant anyone who acts like they have it all figured out. That people like that fucking bother me. You know what I mean? Because I'm like,
yeah.
Ow.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, man. There's a lot of people that swear by it, man. They swear that they got it all figured out. They got all the answers and they got all the keys to unlock all the doors. And it's not until that moment comes that they realize they're unprepared and they don't know a damn thing, man. And again, it's just that thing of when it happens, and it's either you're ready or you're not. But it's not the end of the world, man. If you're not ready, I'm a strong believer that there's second chances out there. You don't always have to give the second chance. You don't always have to ask for it. But when we least expect it, we'll be given a second chance to prove ourselves in some way, shape, or form. And I believe it always happens. It always comes, whether it's being a parent, being an artist, a creator, a friend, a father. It doesn't matter what it is. I believe that we always get several opportunities throughout our life to prove ourselves, not to anybody else, but to ourselves. Because we're too rough on ourselves, man. We like to overthink, we like to beat ourselves up, and we to make it seem like it's the end of the world. And really, it's like no matter what, life is just a journey about learning and experiencing things and learning from our mistakes and just trying to do better each day. Like Deb, who I had on here a few episodes ago, she has a thing where she says you got to be 1% better each day. And I love that. Every day, instead of focusing on trying to tackle 100 different things and being the perfect person every day, just focus on that one thing. The one thing that you know that you messed up on the day before or last month or last week or last year, whatever it is, and put some effort into it. And once you get over that thing, step on to the next one. You don't need to tackle and try to take on the whole world every single day, man, even though it feels like that. We have the power to push back and hold back and certain things on pause and focus on what we know for a fact needs our attention or what's really affecting us or what's going to help us get to the next level and move and level up. And I believe in all that, man. I think that a lot of us just take for granted the fact that we can just be more patient with ourselves, and we take it for granted in the sense that we feel like I'm going to take care of everybody else and everything else first, and then I'll take care of myself later on. You know what I mean? And we forget that we can't really focus on anything else unless we're good. You know what I mean? It's the whole thing about the oxygen mask in an airplane. You got to put yours on before you put on anybody else's. But I agree with you on that, man. And being able to experience that learning while you're trying to teach your kids at the same time, like you're saying, you grow with them, you learn with them. And that's the best way to go about it, man. Instead of looking at it like, yo, hold on, let me just take care of this first and then I'll get to you. You're like, nah, come on, let's do it together. That doesn't know neither. We're gonna figure it out though, you know what I'm saying? And it's that thing that I love, man. With your content and your social media and stuff, like we were talking, you get very engaging with your kids, and you get real creative with them and you let them express themselves in many different ways. Can you share your process of creating content that resonates with both dads and your broader audiences, whether, they're parents or whether they're not parents at all, because I feel like your content and the stuff that you share with your daughters, it doesn't necessarily need to be just for parents or for fathers or for mothers, but it could be for anything, aunts, uncles, friends, anybody at all dealing with kids. Because I feel like nowadays everyone in some way, shape, or form has kids in their lives, whether it's their own, their stepkids, whether it's little sisters or little nephews or nieces or anything like that. How do you go about creating content that actually gets more involved and just shares? Because you don't do stuff that's just entertaining and clickbait stuff. you do things that have deeper meaning, where not only is it educating other people who are viewing, but it shows that you're actually taking the time to educate your kids. And I feel like whether you're an adult viewing it or whether you're another kid yourself watching it, it's something that you always have like some type of a learning educational aspect to it. How do you go about that? Like, is it something that like you're Jack Sparrow and it just comes out that way, or do you plan it out, or like what's your like thought process when it comes to that before you hit record and before you start sharing stuff with other people?
Well, pretty much like I have like 1,000 ideas a day, and I put them all in my notes. Like I have over like 50,000 notes in my phone, and I just got this phone like last year. Like I put so many notes in there because it's just constantly go to the point it's honestly annoying because I can't act on all of them, and I love a lot of them, and I can't do everything. So when it comes to creating with the kids, though, like I let them run a lot of the show. Like I'll come up with this sick idea. I know it's gonna crush. I have a great intro, outro. The whole thing is all curated, written down, ready to go. And then my daughter Stacia like, "Daddy, that's stupid." I'm like, "Stacia, don't say stupid." She's like, "No, but like that deserved it." And I'm like, "What?" And then like we're going to and no, and then we brainstormed, you know, and like they told me they didn't. The reason we stopped doing VeeFriends content because they were like they're not really into VeeFriends that much anymore. They're like in that phase where it's like they don't really like Pokemon anymore too much either. It's like they're kind of in that phase of they're finding their own things that they like. Honestly, all they watch now are cat memes, so they want to do cat videos. So I'm gonna get a little camera for my cat for while it runs around, and they're gonna do voiceovers of the cat and
I
make
love
like
that.
cat adventure videos,
I
right?
love
So
that.
that's like their creative process. They're very creative as well, just like naturally. Like they have sick ideas that they came up with, especially for like the VeeFriend stuff. Because I'll just give them the theme, like, oh, like this is polished poodle. So they were like, okay, let's go get some towels and we'll get some of the crystal glassware and we'll wipe it down while we're making the video. So it's like polishing, and
I
like
love
they'll oh, if it's generous gerbil, let's go give some stuff to some homeless people. Like they come up with these ideas, and I'm just sitting there like, yo, I hit gold. Like what? Like
love
y'all
yeah,
are
I
crushing
love
it,
it.
right? So
Well,
we're a team, and I present to them. I always have like an idea, and I try not to get too much caught up in the process because I'm a perfectionist. So when I get into like with drawing, I do this a lot. Like I'll mess up one line and I can see that line. You won't be able to see that line. You'll look at my picture and be like, oh, it's complete. It's fine. It's cool. But I see that line and it fucks with me. It keeps me up at night. And so I can't get too caught up in that because then like the camera's not right. The lighting's not perfect over here. The back, like setting up just this, I'm like, bro, I'm just going to get the mic set up and not worry about anything else because then I'll be here all day fucking
I
putting
hear you.
things up
Yeah,
here and you fixing this and doing this and having props ready and shit. I'm just like, yo, I'm hooking
exactly.
up the mic so I give my man some good audio and that's it. That's what we're coming with today. So it's like I gotta simplify my process in that way,
Yep.
and the same thing with content. I'm just like, let's. A lot of the times, I'm just recording them anyways because my plan is when they turn 18, I'm gonna make a whole movie about their life from
I
day
love that.
one until 18, and they're gonna have it all documented. And then I'm gonna give them SD cards with every photo, every video I have of them, and they can just take that because I really wish I had that. Like I got a bunch of Polaroid pictures my mother took, but like nothing that like captures my childhood like my Snapchat memories do. You know what I mean?
I love that. Yeah, no, I hear you. I've done an idea that I got. I forgot where I got from, but what I did for my kids is when they were younger, I created emails for both of them. And so like anytime, like I always make little clips and stuff. Sometimes I share, sometimes I don't, but I'm always the guy with the camera or my phone out and everything like that. And sometimes it bothers people, but I look at it like, yo, if you're saying I wish someone did that for me. I wish there were certain things of me growing up that I had a camera or that I was recording. Or so what I do is all those moments, birthdays, barbecues, anything with my kids that I do, even if it's just a few seconds or whatever, I always try to capture something and every day that I'm with them, a picture, a video, anything like that, even text messaging, or if I face call them, I screen record. And what I do is I send it to the emails that I created for them. And I'm gonna wait till they get a little older, and then I'm gonna give them the email with the password and let them look at it. You know what I'm saying? Because all the stuff, it has the timestamp, it has, and it's gonna be right there. You know what I mean? Or at least I hope so. Who knows? The way technology is, God forbid there's something that happens and wipes everything. But
Yeah.
But I hear you, man. I like doing things like that too, and I feel like it's important, man. It's important, and you're doing a great job, man. You're doing a great job as a father. All the stuff that you're putting out there, from sharing your experience and your advice, and just letting people join you on your journey of, you know, learning things for the first time and going through it with your kids. You know what I mean? I think it's just an amazing thing, because again, I feel like there's not enough people that do it. There's not enough people that let you see that part of life. It doesn't need to be specifically just one person's life, but it's just in general. A lot of us, we need to see it from someone else's point of view to be like, yo, like, you know, they're right. Or it gets them to notice, I would like to do things with my kids, and they realize watching stuff like that they haven't spent that time with their kids, or they never got to garage sale or a lemonade stand. You know what I mean? I feel like every kid should do that. Every kid wants to do that. You know what I mean? Or make a YouTube video and stuff like that. That's a big majority of why I started doing things and switching it up a little bit, because kids are young. They really don't understand how difficult it is to get 100,000 followers and get 100 people viewing and 100 likes, and they think it's just, oh, you just go and you get, and you're famous, you're on YouTube, so you know what I mean? So it gives them a little bit of experience in that, so they understand it a little bit better. But at the same time, it's just having fun with the process, where once they actually start doing it, they start realizing they don't care about that stuff. You know what I mean? Like when I first started telling him, like, I started setting everything up, and he would see my stuff at the house. What are you doing, Daddy? Are you streaming? Are you doing that? I started telling him. He's like, yeah, you're gonna be famous like Mr. B. Like, they just think all the Mr. B stuff. Automatically, they're like, you're on YouTube, you're famous, you're getting, and you gotta, like, no, that's not really how it works. And then so you want to do it, and then once you see that they start forgetting about what subscribers are and likes and views, and that doesn't even come to their mind. They just look at it like, I'm having fun with Dad, and we're making some stuff, and we're making a video, and it's gonna go on YouTube, and everybody else can see it. And then whenever they want, they go on their tabs, whatever, and they go look at it, and they re-experience those moments and those memories. And that's why I do it, because despite whether I have 100 people watching or only one or whatever, I look at it like, at the end of the day, I know they had fun. I know this is something they could look back at whenever I'm not around or anything. And that's more important to me. You know what I'm saying? Those memories that I make with them and the videos, that experience, and that moment, it's going to be more than a moment and more than a memory. It's going to be something that they actually keep with them, and they can go back to whenever. It's like, I feel like all those things are a lot deeper. And when I have conversations with you know, like, I forget, like, I try not to really pay attention to how people watching or tuned in and all, because I really like learning more about other people. I like being able to live through what they're sharing, because there's a lot of things I haven't done as a parent. There's a lot of things I didn't experience as a kid. So when I see you doing those things, and how you talk to your kids, and how you express yourself and everything, and then knowing that you have that background, such as myself, where like you mentioned, you had to kill that ego. Like, I have a hard time with that myself. There's times that I catch people trying to, like, push your buttons or test you and push you past that line. And it's like, you want to react, but then you really pay attention. Like, I'm with my kids, and you don't want them to see that, and you don't want them to think something happens. And again, like, you don't want to get in a situation where, like you said, you don't want to get locked up or something, that it escalates to a more serious situation, and you can't handle it, or you can't, you know, comprehend what you got to do with your kids around, because the first thing you want to do is jump on the person or do this and start yelling and going. All those things come into play, and you realize that the mind that you had, and the attitude and the ego and all that you had before, it's totally different. It takes a back seat, because the first thing that comes in your head is like, nah, bro, I'm a dad. Like, you got kids, shut the fuck up, kill this situation, walk away. Who gives a fuck? Like, this is not the time to say, you know, and try to puff up your chest and do things or have an attitude. Like, it's not just with confrontations. There's a lot of things that you start noticing, and you learn, like, I just gotta bite my tongue, and it sucks, and it kind of gets you annoyed, but you know, deep down inside, it's the right thing to do. And it sucks, but you know, you know what's right, you know what's wrong, and you just get put in that position where it's like, even if kids don't understand it, or they're not paying attention to what's really really going on, you know it's what's best, and you know it's the route that you need to take. You know what I mean? So it's not always easy, but we always, it's like you mentioned, it's like you give your kids advice, but it's also advice that you need to take. It's hard for us to take our own advice. We're always good at giving advice to people, but when it comes to ourselves, we suck at it. We know what we got to do. We know how to get ourselves out the shitty situation and how to make things better and how to improve. But it's just we're hard-headed. We don't like to admit to ourselves that we need help, or that we got to talk about things, or we got to change things and change our habits and start not doing things. You know what I'm saying? So I lose you. Oh, don't tell me I lost you. Oh, there you go. No, we're good. We're good.
I had a call. My bad.
Nah, you're good. You're good. But yeah, I want to move on to the next question that I have, and it's relating to art and fatherhood. You often feature your twin daughters in your art and your content, and you know you say that you combined all your things together and express yourselves. How do you get in, or how do they inspire your creativity, and how do you use your art to connect with them?
It's a really, really good question. Um, hmm. I'd say in a way, like it. I think like my in wise of my art, it's a very separate me, um, than who I am with them. If that makes any sense, like it's very like when I create, I don't even feel like I'm in this world. Like I don't feel like I'm around anybody. I don't feel any connection to anything except for like it's honestly like it's why I do it so much. It's like the only time like my brain stops. It's the only time like I don't know if you've ever seen that meme before when it's like the dude who he plays sports and it's like all these loud noises and then he finally steps on the football field and then it's just complete silence.
Yep, I know
And
so.
that's how I feel when I should actually make that video with an art theme because that's how I feel when I start creating. Because normally, like even right now, like I'm having trouble sitting still. I'm having trouble keeping this conversation going because my mind's like I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to go over here. This needs to be done. Blah blah blah. I'm thinking of this idea. This pops up, but also it comes down to intention because you know I like to sometimes, and this is a kind of a toxic trait, I'll show up for other people sometimes before myself. So if I made an obligation to you to show up at 6 tonight and we're going to do this, I'm like very intentional to make sure I'm present. I'm with you. And I do the same thing with parenting. Like when I'm with the girls, I'm with them. I'm present. I'm putting this to the side. I'm trying to get away from this. I'm trying to put the phone down, things of that nature. And it's very difficult for me to do. But as soon as I start drawing, it's like I'm not even here anymore. So it's like I'd say it's very separate. But when I paint with them, it's the funnest time ever. It's my favorite thing to do because we're just like we're vibing. It's relaxed. They're relaxed. They're like not worried about other dumb things. They're just painting and laughing and smiling while I'm over here doing my thing. It's honestly one of my favorite things to do. So it's just separate. You know what I mean? Like when I paint with them, I'm in dad mode and I'm like just enjoying the serenity of it. But with myself, it's like genuine therapy. It's like, to me, it's like taking my medication every day. You know, I used to be very, I'll tell you a quick story. I used to be very heavily medicated. When I was from like age 10 to like 17, I was diagnosed with bipolar, anxiety, depression, anger management, whatever the doctors could come up with to put me on some type of pill, they did. And I was literally taking like at one point 10 different pills. And one day I took an accidental double dose of my sleeping pills with all my other pills and I flatlined. I literally died. Um, and then after that, I was like, I'm never taking any medication ever again. I don't need it. I'm stronger than this shit, and I can overcome any of these mental things that's going on with me. So I realized that that's not true. You just need other avenues. Like I can't just wake up one day and be like, I'm not anxious. I don't have anxiety anymore. I'm not depressed. I'm not sad. That's not how it works. Like, you need avenues. You need to exercise. You need to draw. You need to meditate. You need to let it out somehow. Like my brother, he's a he just moved back to Harlem, and he's from New York, and he loves fighting. So he goes to the park every day and boxes with whoever wants to pick up a pair of gloves. And to him, That's his therapy. He's in a much, like, I haven't seen him in such a good space and so since he played football as a kid, and that's the same exact thing. Like, as men, we need those type of aggressive outlets sometimes. You know what I mean? So it's like exercise is a very good choice, and like I realized for myself, like I need these different. I don't need Seroquel to sleep. I need to exercise, and I need a write. I don't need lithium for bipolar. Like I just need to regulate my emotions, take deep breaths, meditate, take control of myself, affirm, journal, write these things down, go to therapy, all these other things that this one pill could give me the magic little band-aid for right now until it rips off and now I'm dealing with it again. And that's what I feel like medication is for a lot of people. Not for everybody. Some people I think genuinely need it. Like let's say it's somebody who went to war that has PTSD, he might need some medication to help with that because that's deep as hell, right? So it's like it's different levels of it, I feel. But for myself personally, I realized that those are just labels they put on me. We all deal with these different things at different levels, so I just need to find things that help me with those, you know. And for me, it's meditation, it's art, it's reading, it's taking walks, it's taking jogs, it's getting in nature, it's playing with my cats, like
I
whatever the
love
hell
it,
it is.
man.
Like,
No, I like that you mentioned that, man, because it's I'm a person myself too that dealt with a bunch of medication and stuff like that, and I learned the hard way, bro. I really thought like these were magic pills, like yeah, I'm gonna feel better. It's gonna, and then little do you know, you start losing yourself, and
mm-hmm.
from the way you look to the way you're acting or you react, or you know, from not getting the proper sleep or not having the energy to do just basic stuff like tie your shoes or just stay awake during a conversation or just normal things, man. And then it starts changing your body, and then it goes
Mm-hmm.
from needing one pill to needing six, and then like it's not until you notice you're sitting and you go from like taking one pill a day to then you got to take seven different pills at different times, and then the moment you miss one, like you're totally off balance and you know something's not right. And it some people are lucky enough to catch it before it gets really bad, and others they learn the hard way, or others aren't lucky enough to learn it all, man. So I respect that you shared that, and you let people know from experience that there's other things, man. A lot of people don't talk about that enough. A lot of people think that, you know, emotional stuff can only be cured with some type of a medication, some type of a drug, or some type of a crutch of something, when really it's like you don't need that. You know, all you need to
Yep.
do is go work out, or you know, go hit the bag a little bit, or even listen to some music and express yourself through writing something or journaling or painting or drawing, like any of those things, man. And a lot of people downplay that, like, oh, that's not gonna do nothing, or you going like, and it's you'd be surprised, man. You'd be surprised
Yep.
how many hours will just fly by like this, because you're so into what you're writing and drawing, or the music you're listening to, or meditating, man. Meditating is something that's really underrated. People
Yep.
look at it like it's just some simple thing of you down or whatever. It's a lot more than that, bro. And yoga is another thing that when you hear it, you're just like, you're just stretching. Have you done it? Have you tried meditating? Have you tried yoga? Have you tried changing the shit that you eat? Have you tried drinking more water as much as did you drink your water? And everyone's like, yeah, everybody says that. Yeah, but have you done it? Like, there's
Yeah.
reason. Have you cut out not only the toxic people, but the things you're consuming, the people you're around, the things you're eating, like all of those things, man. People downplay it and they ignore it, and they're like, it's just what people say, because they want you to just be healthy and go to the gym and get a subscription to a membership and all. It's really
Yeah.
not. But it's there's a science to the stuff, and we like to think that just ignore all that stuff. Like, yes, it takes effort, it takes time, you know, for you to go to the gym and build up that tolerance, whether it's to work out or even just to get up and get ready to go to the gym and get there. But if you put
Yeah.
in that work and that effort, bro, it starts getting easier and easier, whether it's working out or working through your problems yourself and talking about it and expressing yourself, man. I really feel like there's so much power in that. And the reason people don't share it is because it takes away the power that people have over you. It takes
Yep.
away that thing of people like, you got to see a doctor, you got to go talk to a therapist. Like, you don't have to talk to a therapist. Yes, that helps, but you don't realize that maybe you just need to talk. It doesn't need to be a specific therapist. Maybe you just need to
Yeah.
talk to somebody, anybody, period.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Or just let it out, go scream and yell, or go record yourself. Like for the first few 100 episodes of my podcast, bro, it's just me talking to myself and nobody tuning in. And for so
Yep.
long, it bothered me because it's like you mentioned, like you put so much effort into something, and then when no one tunes in and you get no likes or nothing, or you just get one person that shows up, you overthink. But then you start looking at it like, yo, what if that's that one person that needed this today? What if that's that one person needed to see, like, yo, this person's just like me, and they're like, it's things like that it took some time for me to start changing the way that I looked at things, that I started understanding that there's more power in just believing in yourself, being patient with yourself, showing up for yourself. You know what I
Yep.
mean? That we tend to devalue, and we tend to like just brush under the rug like it ain't nothing. Oh, you don't need that. You don't need to put in that time. Just go to a doctor and get a pill, and you're gonna feel all better, and you'll forget about it. Or
That's
go
the
over here.
easy way too. That's like, and I've realized
Yes.
that with people, it's like, it's so much easier to tell somebody that's pouring their heart out to you and they're going through it and you can see the pain in their face and you have nothing to offer them. And it's not that you have nothing to offer them, it's that you don't care enough. So it's like, oh, go to therapy. Oh, hey, like this is my favorite. Oh, we all have problems. So you should
Yeah.
be okay because I handle my problems well. And
Yeah.
people like that, it's like, no, that's not how it works. Like, they need some
Uh,
encouragement. They need the right information right now. The right information that they need to hear is they need to learn to love themselves so they can start
yes.
doing these things, because
Yes.
that's another thing. If you tell me, hey, bro, you just need to work out, meditate, that doesn't mean shit. How do I start doing those things? And how do I love myself enough to dedicate myself to do that? And that's the
Yes.
foundation that it needs to be built off of. That's one thing I realized with myself, because a lot of the people I was talking to, I was like, this comes really easy to them. Maybe there is something wrong with me. And that's where that starts to build up, because once you
Yep.
believe there's something wrong with you, there is something wrong with you, And if you
Yep.
don't have the right context, if you don't have the people who understand this on a molecular level, then you're talking to people you're talking to people who don't really care, but they care
Yep.
enough to give you they care enough, like, not that they zero don't care, but they care enough to try to help you. And their way is like the easy way. Hey, just get away from me. Go to therapy.
Yeah.
Go take your medicine. I don't want to deal with you. Oh,
Yep.
go over there. And
Yep.
that's the that's the problem, which is why I give advice to anybody going through that, is like, don't build an identity around this, because then you will use this as an excuse for all your bad behavior. It's just like people who start to like freak out and they can't regulate their own emotions. Now they have something, oh, I have anxiety, so now I'm allowed to act this way. And that's where the translation gets lost. It's like, no, that's not true. You're not allowed to act this way. You can, but there are also consequences, and they may be that people might not want to be around you anymore, which means you're going to self-isolate even more, and your identity of anxiety just became a lot more real. Whether it was real or not before, now it is, because you've built this image of somebody who always has this reason for why they're not doing what they need to do. And what I tell them is, the reason you're doing that is because you do not love yourself. You need to learn to love yourself. And there's many ways to do that as well. Self-affirmation, journaling. Um, stop Don't compare yourself to other people. Accept who you are, because you're not, no matter what I do in life, I will not be Mark Wahlberg. That just is what it is. It would have been a great luck of the draw to do it, but I'm not going to be Mark Wahlberg no matter what. It's just like a kid who's 5'6" and wants to be LeBron James. It's just not going to happen, bro. You need to learn to love who you are, being 5'6", and shoot the basketball the best way you can, because you're not dunking it. And you still might dunk it. Nate Robinson did, right? So it's like, don't limit yourself, but also accept who you are and love who you are, and find out what's unique to you and love that side of yourself. And then take that love and then build all those other things on top of it, because they all don't work without that. You're not going to be, I could go work out so fucking hard today, but tomorrow I'm going to wake up feeling like shit, and I'm not going to have the determination or the tenacity or any of these other qualities that's going to get me to do it again the next day. That's why life coaches are really good. That's why it's good to have coaches and good to have great people around you that are gonna like me and my brother work like this. He's gonna call me a pussy, and now I feel like I can't be a pussy, and that's how
Yep.
me and him work, right? Not everybody works that way, but that's
I
how
hear
me
you.
and him work.
Yeah.
You know, like that's he's my little brother, but he's bigger than me. So there's always been that dynamic of he's really calling me a pussy right now.
Yep.
I need to get on my shit because he's talking crazy right now.
Yeah.
So
Nah.
it's like it's a beautiful thing, you know, but you got to find these different, that's just my advice, is like build the foundation in love and find people around you who are going to help support you during those harder times as well, because sometimes it takes a hand, you know, it takes what you said earlier that Deb said, I love that. 1% better every day individually, but together
Yes.
we're 2% better every day.
100%.
You know what I'm
100%.
saying? So that's
Yo,
we got some balloons.
Yo, I'm gonna be honest with you. This is the first time I've ever seen this. I've ever seen balloons. While you were talking before, there was like emojis popping up near your head of like thumbs, like, and I've never seen this before. So I don't know how people are doing this. I just want you to know it's not me. I'm not doing this. I know it's people in the chat or something. So
What
still,
app is that coming from?
I think it's coming from Twitch.
Oh,
If I'm
okay.
not mistaken, I think it's coming from Twitch. And the only reason I believe that is because not too long ago, I just reached affiliate, but I haven't really gone live like that with enough people to play around with features. So I think that's what it is. People are they have access to do these things. I'm still learning a lot, bro, when it comes to this. So I think
Hey,
that's what
chat,
it
thanks
is.
for the balloons, man. Thanks
Yo,
for the
for
balloons.
real,
You know,
yeah. Thank
subscribe,
you.
you know
And
what I mean? Hit the
that's the
bell,
other
hit the bell.
thing. And I can't even see who's doing it. That's the other thing too. That's bothering me. All these things are showing up, and I'm like, who's doing it and why?
Yo,
It's Nacho. It's Nacho. Nacho has to be doing it.
there's an underrated skill to what you're doing, and I realized it last night when I was watching Kevin Hart and Drewski on Kai Cenat's stream.
Yes, yes.
And I realized it because Kevin's realizing it, what I realized as he's on the stream, about how much skill Kai has in his charisma, his ability to communicate to his audience, to keep the hype going, to make things interesting, to make things palatable, to make things diverse. Like that young man has so much skill that you would not understand unless you tried it, or you try to be a creative at all in that space and to capture attention and to distribute attention. And you could see Kevin like watching Kai during the stream, like almost like a proud dad kind of vibe. Like, yo, this kid got it. You know what I mean? Like, he got this formula and he's crushing it. You know what I mean? And it was just dope to watch. It was a dope stream.
Yeah, no, I gotta catch up on that too. That wasn't the sleepover one, right? That's happening tonight. Oh, that was a sleepover one?
Yeah, they
I
just
missed
did that.
it. I thought they were gonna do that later on. See, I'm so late on things like that, man. I thought that was later on this week. I was watching a whole bunch of little ads for it and everything, how they were gonna have a sleepover and start going over all this stuff. So I'm like, yo, I definitely gotta tune in because all of them are characters, bro, in their own way. So it's just great to see them all collaborate with each other and connect and just share their different point of views, but also their creativity, how it just comes together and the things that they can come up with. What I went on to ask you next, man, is when you have like you're wearing many different hats, man. You're an artist, you're a content creator, you write, you're a dad advocate. Like, how do you decide what content to create and how do you balance these different aspects? Like, how do you choose what to focus on when you're making your art? Like, you know, that you just want to express yourself, or you want to spread a message, or you want to be informative, or like, you know, any of that stuff. Like, how do you decide what to put your energy towards and what to focus on when you're either creating your art or creating content or making a post, or like, what's your thought process behind that? Like, how do you choose what you're going to focus more on? Like, do you just look at it like, today, you know, a lot of people look at analytics and all that stuff like that and decide, all right, well, today a video on this or this type of art's going to do better because of the market or whatever? Or do you just say, screw all that, and I'm just going to focus on how I feel and what I think I need to put out that day?
That's exactly it, bro. I just send it. I try to do the analytical thing. Like, I have Google constantly sending me reminders about what's trending on Google and across platforms. I'm constantly looking at because I started doing reply guy stuff on Twitter, so I can try to get my page monetized. I'm at 4 million right now, so I'm almost at the 5 million for the monetization. So it's just like understanding trends and understanding what's popular. Like if something's going on, like with the Drake and Kendrick shit, like that was an easy layup because I know hip hop, I know what's good and I know what's wrong. So that was easy to reply to all those posts, and you just type Kendrick and then look at all the top posts. Oh, this post is at 100,000, but it's a really good post. So I know this is gonna go in the millions. So if I can get a good comment in there before it goes up, that's gonna have good impressions. So like that's my Twitter strategy, right? So, but it's all different. Like, it's kind of how I feel in the moment. Like, I just kind of go with the flow and just do what feels right. Like, I'll put you on to what I'm doing next, and I'm gonna be doing this on Twitter. So Twitter, Elon's about to try to make this like Vine, essentially. He's there. I think they're gonna choose 10 creators to start it off, but you're gonna be able to make content on here just like you do any other app. TikTok, Instagram, and they're obviously going to boost that type of stuff in the algorithm. And so I'm like, I need to do some type of video series on here. I need to take advantage of this opportunity. Do I think my parenting content is going to do good on X? Nah. X is mostly a cesspool of negativity for the most part. For stuff that does well, like it's mostly negative shit that does good here.
Yeah.
You know, you can have a positive video here, but I wouldn't focus the whole brand on it. That's just my opinion. It's like my Instagram right now is just all art stuff because I realized that Instagram likes like artsy kind of quality, vibey, aesthetic, like, you know, like kind of more like aesthetically pleasing would be the right term, right? So I started doing that. Facebook is where all the twins' whole family is. So I put all the family content there. Because at minimum, like their army of cousins, because they're Cape Verdean, and they have like 70,000 cousins. They all can tune in to fucking see all the videos, and they all tell me like, oh, I see all your videos and I love them. So I'm like, okay, my family content goes to Facebook. And then for X, what I'm doing now is, so do you have Snapchat? Do you use Snapchat at all?
Nah, I haven't. Honestly, I haven't been on Snapchat in a minute. Like the last time I was using Snapchat was around the era of DJ Khaled getting lost on his jet ski type. You know what I mean? That was around the time I was using it. Other than that, I stopped.
I like to use it. My brother travels a lot, so he always sends me shit. Like he was chilling with a Komodo dragon yesterday. Fucking dope. But the reason I said Snapchat, so they have this thing called Snap Map, where like if you have your location on, you can see your friends around the world. But what you can also do in the app is you can press on certain areas that are a lot of people are posting public stories
and see
on.
random stuff. Yep.
So I do that for fun sometimes. So like sometimes I get high and I go on Google Earth and I just look at random places around the world, like in like the areas in Alaska. So I started doing that on Snapchat so I could actually see the people there and what they're like. So I'm going to start a series of like, where is this or something like that. And I'm going to pick random locations in the world.
Bro,
and
I love
just
that.
like show people what's going on in this side of the world on that day and try to find like funny stuff. Like, because I saw the other day some dude was wedging another dude, and I thought that was hilarious. That was happening in like Kazakhstan or some shit. Like, and I'm like, yo, they do that over there, bro. Like, that's some Boston shit. They're with it. Like, let's go.
That's a fucking dope ass idea, bro. I think that's really dope. You should definitely lean into that. I'd have it. It's mad dope, and you know you have endless content because of the fact that you can literally just see anything from any place, and there's always people posting. So that's a great fucking idea, bro. That's really great. I like that idea.
Right. So I'm just going to post those clips and have that just be a strictly X thing. Because that's another thing I think it's going to be important. If I put original content that you can't find anywhere else and that I'm only posting it there and they know that through their API, that's how I will get a boost later on. That's what I believe, at least. Because
I agree.
Like when you post like your like let's say like when you posted the let's get to know DadBob, you put another link to another site, so you instantly got deboosted.
Exactly.
So and all the platforms are like this now because they're all competing on that level. Yep. So once I realized that, because I was posting my dad tips everywhere, I was doing every platform you could think of, and I was looking at the distribution. I'm like, all right, well, YouTube Shorts were doing really well, but they weren't doing well anywhere else. So YouTube Shorts must be claiming them as original content. Then I realized, oh, I post there first. That's why, because they get it in this whole internet algorithm, like the Google, the bigger picture that goes down into these smaller brackets of different APIs. And I don't know. I'm not a fucking computer scientist.
No, you're right. You're right.
But I'm intuitive.
Yeah.
I'm not intelligent in that way, but I'm intuitive enough to see these things and how they're working. I'm like, okay,
Exactly.
okay. So yeah, that's gonna be my big focus for content wise for X specifically, and just continue with my other shit.
Nah, I agree with you, and you got the right mindset, man. Because a lot of people, what they aren't understanding is a lot of these brands, because that's what they are. All these social media applications are just brands, and people need to start looking at it like that. Because before, what these accounts, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, X, Snapchat, like all of them, and LinkedIn, like all these apps before were just like, let's give it to them for free just so we have people come on here, they're going to put on their content and we don't have to do nothing. We just have the platform, they make the content, we have the traffic coming in, we're good. What all these social media companies started getting upset with is you'd come in and you build up a community on Instagram. You have 100,000 followers. Then you have a brand or a label or whatever come up to you and give you a contract deal. Like, look, we're going to pay you such and such if you put on an affiliate link, or you sell our product, or you drive traffic from Instagram to our website to make a sale and do this and blah, blah, blah. Instagram turns around and looks at it like, yo, bro, you just got a contract deal because you're using our site to post your content. You know what I mean? Instead of them looking at it like you went and you grabbed people to come to Instagram, they're like, yo, you took our people from Instagram and you're making them go somewhere else. Where's our cut? Yeah. And they can't get a cut. So that's why a while ago, people didn't really notice it. They started seeing like people like Cardi B and all these other people start complaining like, oh, I got no, like my algorithm and all this stuff is going down, and my interaction with people and my likes and all. What's going on? And they started looking at like people weren't fucking with them no more. And it's not that. They changed the algorithm not for your benefit, but for their benefit. So now it's like you're saying, like if I post up something from YouTube and all that stuff like that on X, automatically X is going to be like, all right, since you care about YouTube so much, we're not going to push your shit. We're going to put you at the bottom of the list, and that's it. You know, good luck. Because it's not helping them, it's not benefiting them for them to click a link to get them off that site to go to the next site. They don't want that. The whole thing is to try to get people to stay where they are. Like if you're on Instagram and you're making content on Instagram and you're sharing stuff, like right now, if you post in, like they changed everything so much, bro. Like you can't even click the link in my bio or check this out here. Automatically, they're gonna lower your shit.
Yeah. Yep.
It's freaking, but they set it up like that on purpose. They built up all this hype and they gave you something for free. And now they got it to the point like, yeah, we gave it to you for free, but if you're planning on trying to make money off of us for free, you're bugging. So they're like, we want our cut some way, in some way. So that's exactly what people aren't really paying attention to. The one who really knows what he's doing, and I agree with you, because it's his main goal, and he said it before he even bought Twitter, is he wants to make an app that's just like it's the WeChat or whatever it was that I think it's China or Japan has.
Yeah, China. Yep.
They don't use anything but that app. That app is everything that's their Cash App. That's their Venmo. That's their GPS. That's that's the WhatsApp. Like that, they use that for everything. There's no way you can do anything without going through that app first. So he's like, yo, there's no app that exists like that out here. Yep. And so he's being smart. Like if you notice, little by little, like now they're focusing more on live streaming and they're focused on building content, and they're focused. Before it wasn't like that. Before they limited you to how much you can post or how long of a video could be, or, you know, and he stopped all the limitness because he realized like, yo, why am I going to stop that when all they're going to do is, if I can only have the people using my app post a video for 60 seconds, and they have a video that's 3 or 4 or 5 minutes long, they're gonna be like, all right, I want to see the whole thing. So there's like, oh, you got a clip of this now, go to my Instagram to watch the full thing, go to my YouTube to watch so he wants to stop all that. So he's basically combining everything that every app has, and he's gonna put it in one. So you're basically gonna be like, why the hell am I gonna jump from this site to this site to this site to this when I have an app that does everything?
Yeah.
So, and the way that he's really trying to attract people to do that is by having the number one app that gives the most royalties and the most payouts and the more like he's trying to give everyone. And I feel like you're making a smart move, and you're a smart person to notice that, because it's like Gary Vee and all these other people say, all this stuff is free right now, but it's for right now. Like the same way that we like, our generation.
It's not free. It's not even
Exactly.
free.
Exactly. Yeah. And the thing that sucks about it is that our generation knows it, but we kind of forgot about it. Like everything is just repeating itself. And the next generation has no clue, bro. They have no clue that we had cable for like fucking $10 to $13, and we could literally flip through channels and decide if we wanted to watch ads or whatever, or commercials and all. Now it's like they feel it's a necessity. We have to watch an ad. It's like, bro, if you only knew that we didn't have to deal with none of that. And now it's like we got tricked into, we got a streaming service. Like, bro, we literally paid like probably $20 a month or less than that for TV that gave us all these channels and all these movies. And now we literally pay $20 separately for each individual thing, and we're still dealing with ads and commercials and all. That's the thing people don't wrap their heads around. Like, it's literally just everything coming full circle. But everybody got greedy to the sense that like, every ad needs to have a subscription thing. Every app needs to have ads. Every app needs to have like this wall that you have to get by in some type of way, where you either got to pay or put in a lot of time and effort and energy to get past it, to get to the good stuff. And right now it's like, it's free, but you're giving a lot of your time and effort into it. Then it's going to be to a point where it's like, you want to get on Instagram, you want to get on Facebook. All right, you got to pay. Whether it's $3, $4, you're going to have to pay. There's no, or they're going to limit you. Like, all right, you want to come on? Okay, you can post once a day or once a week. You want to level it up, you got to put more time into the app. Like, it's all these things that they're tricking, and they don't notice it. So the fact that you mentioned that, it goes to show that you're putting your attention in the right place, and that you have a good pulse on things, because you're noticing it. You notice that if you post a certain link that's going to direct you to another app or some other type of program or website or whatever, that they're going to be like, all right, this person isn't helping our application, so why are we going to keep pushing this stuff? Let's, it's little things like that a lot of us, like, it sucks, but we have to adapt to that. We have to start learning to that, because before it used to just be like, all right, you build up a community and then you have everybody just go to that specific app. But then over the years, we started noticing that, a lot of these apps don't last long. So it's like, you have to make sure that you develop something where wherever you go, people are going to come with you. Because if not, you're going to go on Instagram and you build up this following on Instagram, on Twitter, on YouTube, and all this stuff. And then next thing you know, you can't take them with you. They block your access and they got all your followers. And all it takes is a swipe or good, like, jump to the next thing, that they're going to forget about all your stuff. And you got the next person that's copying your content and what you're doing, and they've already just moved on to the next. And all that time and effort that you did of building up that profile, of bringing people over there, was for nothing. You basically just did all the legwork for Instagram, for Facebook, for X. And
they might not even like you there. That's the reality.
Exactly.
Is that these apps have different crowds, like, especially now with the political spectrum. Like, X is like clearly more right-leaning, Republican kind of vibe, and Facebook's more left, Democrat. And I'm just like, I don't give a fuck,
Exactly.
I could care less. But that's the realization is it's just being able to create attention no matter where you go. That's another thing I realized is like that, like, I could fall off. I could build a whole community on YouTube. Like, do you know the creative Jadion?
Sounds familiar. I probably know if I saw something.
He's hilarious. He's like with Kai and all them guys, and he was like one of the big creators on YouTube. I was following him because he's hilarious. He was super, super funny. He did mad, like, the craziest skits. And then one day he just woke up and was like, I believe in Jesus now.
Oh, I know you're talking about. And then he was gonna delete all his accounts or whatever, and he didn't want to do it anymore.
Completely.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
And that's one of the things. It's like he tried to go to other platforms where people were more accepting of who he is now. And I love that he switched to that, but it's like, bro, I didn't come here to be preached to. I came here because you were fucking ridiculous. And I love ridiculous. Right? So it's like you could lose your crowd as well, and then you'll have to go to another crowd that's more like, he might have to go to Facebook, and he might kill it on Facebook because maybe there's more Christians over there, right? So it's like, or maybe he comes here and it's the same. Like, whatever it is, like, that's the realization is you just need to maintain attention and how do you do that in different realms as well. So it's like I realized that with my art, it's like I realized community is more important than anything, right? It's like being a part of communities that are everywhere. So no matter what, I'm linking up with that community and I can build from there. And whether they're just supporting, whether they're actual collectors of my art, whatever it is, um, I'll still be with them. You know, we have in real life contacts, these type of things. We go to events, some like V Friends, which is why V Friends was so important to me. But I realized with a lot of Web3 stuff, it's a lot of sentiment based stuff, like
Yeah,
how the market's going. Like if
yeah,
everybody's winning, it's a whole different vibe than if everyone's losing and everyone. So I'm just like I started to kind of niche down and be like, all right, I'm not really focused on necessarily the community, but individual relationships, you know, and like
yes,
trying to build those out. Like we're slowly building a friendship and a brotherhood, and you know, with other people in the community like Ben and people that I've been able to build friendships with, and also working in that area because that's not a skill of mine. I am a man of many hats, but when it comes to like, I'm good at making the connection. I can connect with the president right now. I feel like if I wanted to, but after like the follow up and the nurturing of the relationship, that's something I'm trying to improve in because I'm not good at like checking in. I'm not good at birthdays. I'm not. I won't say I'm not good. I will say I'm not good yet. It's something I need to work on, you know, because it's something I am actively working on, trying to be more a better friend to my friends, you know,
I
where
hear
I'm
you.
actually checking in and seeing what's up because I'm so caught up in my own highway that I don't even realize like, oh, y'all cars is y'all right there with me, y'all just over there, you know what I'm
Exactly,
saying? So it's
exactly.
like, you know how it is.
No, I hear you, man, and I agree with you. I made that shift too, where I was at first stuck on the whole thing, like buy and sell and flip, and then little by little, you just get to the thing where you start noticing like whether it's the community or brands or movements or waves or whatever it is, you notice that people say they're in it for one thing, or they make you think that it's their focus is this and that. And then as time goes on, you start noticing like you were just using that to get people in here. And now that
Yeah,
they're here, they're all waiting for guidance. Like, yo, like what do we do next? Like we
yeah,
bought all your stuff and we do like what? And it's like, oh, don't worry, we got more stuff for you to buy. And it's like, yo, I remember it wasn't fucking like this. Like it was about
yeah,
like, yo, meet good people and network and this. And then you start meeting people, and the more and more people you meet, you notice that in that group, there's probably only 3 or 4 that are actually like you said, they'll
yeah,
hit you up and be like, yo, like, how are you, bro? Like what's like how
right,
you been? What's going on? And it kind of it takes a minute for you to get out of that programming in the sense of like, yo, like you're a fucking human being, bro. Like people
yeah,
are actually showing that they give a shit about you. It's not always about like, yo, like let's make money or make a flip and let's do like
right,
they're just trying to kick it with you. They're just trying to have a regular conversation like nobody else in person. And it's hard to try to adapt to that because we like this is all new, all this technology stuff. I wouldn't be doing this with nobody like a year or two ago and having a
right,
conversation like, you know what I mean? So it's hard to adapt to it and understand that this is the way that things have evolved to. This is the way that we got to network and communicate with each other and just socialize in general and just like express ourselves and learn about each other. Like, oh snap, I got stuff falling, there's a ghost in here. I said something they don't like. But
Nah, that's a fact though, bro, 100%. And that's like that's what it's all about. Like since this bull market, quote unquote, kind of came back, it's like I you know it's you the mask kind of came off for a lot of people about like, okay, you weren't here as a community, you weren't here as like a friend, you weren't genuine. Like it was all about like it was very circumstantial, and that's okay. You know, some people are here for a reason, a season, a blessing, a lesson, forever and ever, right? So it's like that I try I don't hold any like grudge towards anybody or any like ill will or ill intent. I'm just like more of a realization. I've never been in a space like this. Like I grew up around a bunch of savages, to be honest. You know what I mean? So I'm not used to even being around positive people. So I don't know who's bullshitting me or not. At first, I did think it was a lot of bullshit. I thought everybody was just fronting, like because they wanted money. Because that's what I'm used to. Is people pretend to be your friend for years to make a few bucks off you, and I come from that lifestyle. So it's like it was really hard for me to like to put to not put my trust issues onto other people that don't deserve to deal with my trust issues. So I was very open. I was very like open mind, and I still am, you know. But it's like more understanding now of like, okay, it's like maybe maybe not everybody that seems like they're like these nice positive people, they're no different than the savages I used to be with. They just talk nicer, or they dress better, or they seem or present themselves like
100%.
more genuine, but they're the same shit, they just talk a different language, you know? It's like
100%.
that was a big realization for me in this space. Like, damn, like maybe I was too vulnerable because I was too like, yo, these people all seem like great people, you know what I
No.
mean? And a
Yeah.
lot of them are,
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
lot of them are really, really genuinely great people that I've connected with in this space. So I don't want to like put too much light on the bullshit and not highlight the amazing people that are in this space that are genuinely, truly who they say they are, and the actions stand behind that as well. So like those type of people mean a lot to me, and again, like I'm trying to work on being a better friend to them as well, and to be the best version of myself for everybody as well.
Yeah, you're not alone with that, bro. That's the reason I tried doing this podcast and stuff. At first, this was all like about me and me wanting to clock out of my 9 to 5 and
Yeah,
documenting my journey and all that. And then the more and more I went on to it, I'm like, bro, you got no fucking experience in this shit to be giving anybody advice on how to do this and where to go. And so I'm like, yo, I gotta like, again, kill that ego, have conversations with people, actually listen, actually reach out, and like just make sure that I'm using this time and taking advantage of people willing to speak with me, willing to share and learn. But at the same time, it's like you're saying, learn how to be a better friend, learn how to be just a better person in general, and consider other people's thoughts and feelings and emotions and all that stuff. Like, it was a process. At first, I was just focused on, I gotta be a podcaster, I gotta make this, I gotta do that. And it's like you're saying before, with the light and everything, bro, I used to like worry about my background. Now I just got this green screen shit. Like, I really don't, man, fuck it, whatever. I change it every day when I want to. And like, it is what it is. My whole thing is like, I just want to focus on making sure that I'm getting the right information to get a better understanding of the people that I'm talking to and I interact with. Like with you, like there's so, it's like you're saying, it went from being so many people that you spoke with and were talking to and all, but you start, after, as time goes on, you start going through the experience of learning who people really are. And it's hard to ignore that you're learning that some people aren't what they say they are, and they're not here for those reasons that you're here. And you start distancing yourself from that and you cut them off. And then you notice that there's only a few people that have been there since day one that haven't switched on you, despite how the market has been, despite whether there's rug pulls, or despite if there's no value in money and profit or whatever. You notice that there's still people, like I say, like you mentioned, that they just hit you up like, yo, you all right? Like, how you been? Like, what's
yeah,
going, just normally. And sometimes it throws you off and it surprises you because you don't expect it. And then you don't know how to react to it. You're like, all right,
right,
how do I do? And then you start noticing like, yo, this person always hits me up, but I never hit them up. Or this
right,
person always shows up for me and is always, but I don't show up for them. Like, it takes those little things that you start feeling either embarrassed because you're like, damn, like, it's like you mentioned before too, you got so many people that believe in you and you don't even believe in yourself. And I even mentioned this on another podcast. Like, I feel, and it's a thing that Conor McGregor said, is like, the lack of commitment in what you're doing is the highest form of disrespect for the people that believe in you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not even taking it seriously, but you got this other person that you don't even know from a hole in the wall sitting there like, yo, this is the guy. He's gonna make it. I'm rooting for him. Meanwhile, you're sitting here at home like, fuck it, I'll do it next week. You know what I'm saying?
yep.
And it's that shit that when I started learning that, I started taking this more seriously, in the sense of like, yo, fuck what it looks like and what everyone's thinking and the algorithm and all. Bro, I'm just gonna record. I'm gonna speak from the heart. If I get emotional, I get emotional. If I don't like what someone says, I'm gonna say it. I'm not just gonna, oh, you know what? That's true. And that's, just for the sake of content or whatever.
Yep.
And because of that, it started sorting through all the bullshit and all the fake people. And you start finding those people that you should be surrounding yourself with. And it makes you have a deeper connection, like you're saying. You know what I mean? You start getting more involved with those people. You start having deeper conversations. You start hitting them up more. And it goes from just being strangers to friends. And you start feeling like you're building your own fucking family. It's not even about a community. You just start noticing like, yo, this is a real down-to-earth person that I know I don't want to lose connections with, and I want to keep in my life for one reason or another, but they're making me feel good about myself. They've been showing me through their actions and through the time that they actually care about what's going on with me or what I'm trying to do. Like, compared to other people. They're here one day and then they're gone the next, and then, you know what I'm saying, you're like, you start questioning, did I do something wrong? Did I not do enough?
Yeah.
Did I not? And really, it's not even none of that. It's just people really show their true colors, and after some time you just get over the bullshit and you just don't want to fake the funk no more, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I
There's
hear
no ain't no future in front, and you know what I mean. That's just what it is, bro. And I'm blessed that we were able to connect, and definitely hope that we continue to connect and build. And I'm always down to hop on a show whenever and talk about these type of topics because they're important to me. I'm known as a yapper. I could yap all day. I love talking. I love writing. I love shooting this shit. I love brainstorming ideas. I love trying shit out. So it's dope, bro. I really appreciate this conversation. It's been really dope.
I love it, man. And we've been streaming now for 2 hours, man. We got 33 people tuning in. We got 31 people that are tuning in on X right now. We got 2 people on Twitch that are tuning in. Shout out to Nacho. He is my first subscriber. Thank you for subscribing, bro. I really appreciate it. Shout out to Liddy Love. Thank you for tuning in. I know you said you were going to tune in and show some love. I'm happy you were able to come here. Shout out to Brofit. Shout out to who else? Soggy, who showed up. Shout out to Casey, who came on here. So everybody who came in and showed some love, man, and show support, make sure that you go and give DadBob a follow. Wherever you're listening to this, wherever you're watching and streaming this, any information related to DadBob is going to be in the description. So make sure you go give him a like, a follow, check out his content that he makes with his girls, check out his art. And yeah, man, is there anything before we get out of here that you want to let people know that you got going on, or you want to share, you want to put on anybody's radar? You know, I know that you dropped some art. Do you got any more art coming out? Do you got an art drop that you're going to release soon, or any projects that you're working on that you want to make sure people look out for, or just any message that you want to relay to anybody that's tuning in or listening?
I would say go to the bookstore and get Russ's new book. It's called "It Was You All Along." Here's a mirror.
I love
On
that.
the cover, I would grab this book. What if you're the one you've been waiting for? I love Russ as a creative, as an artist, as a rapper. As he's probably the true first of his kind of self-development rapper. You know what I mean? Like he's like the Gary V of rap. No bullshit. Like,
I hear you.
so I love his books. I would pick this book up. I'm always creating shit. It's hard to keep up with. Like I'm probably gonna have a new project I'm gonna do next week, and then the week after that, and the week. I just create. I just go and I go and I go and I go. This summer, obviously, I'm gonna be spending a lot more time with the girls. Probably be with them like the whole summer, to be honest. So we'll be creating a bunch of dope shit. But yeah, man, I don't put too much weight into that shit. I try to do all the. I'll get there. I'll get to the whole marketing and dispo and doing all that shit the right way. Right now, I'm just creating and putting shit out and connecting with people who fuck with it, and then trying to connect with people that I fuck with what they do. And that's kind of where I'm at right now, because marketing is a whole nother side of being an artist that is a skill. It takes a lot more than just saying, hey, guys, here's my new piece. That's not how it works. You know, like, even myself, I'll drop a piece of art and I'll DM everybody that I know fucks with me, because maybe they'll share it, you know, and maybe that will lead to a collector, right? So, you know, I'm working on everything. MacTub is actually still available on Launch My NFT. I just released that. If you look on my Twitter, DadBob3 is I just released a whole compilation of different art mediums called the multimedium, which is my photography, my digital art, a beat that I made because I'm trying to learn to make lo-fi, and I'm really proud of this. And I combined them all together with this AI animation app tool thing, and I made this dope animation that I really enjoy. It's pinned to the top of my page. If you like animations, you can collect that or just check it out and enjoy it. I love people that just enjoy the art as well. You don't need to be a collector. You can just look at it and say, oh, that's sick. You know, because that's what I do at least 1,000 times a day. So I appreciate you, bro. I'm really, really enjoyed this conversation. I love doing shit like this. Always down to hop on here when our schedules align. And yeah, let's work, bro. I appreciate you.
100%, man. And just to put it on your radar and everybody else's, so that you guys know, I've mentioned this before, but Nacho, since you subscribed, I want you to know exactly what's going on. What I'm doing, because none of this, I've never thought of doing any of this stuff for profit, but I just want to always make sure I'm trying to do my part to help other independent artists and creators such as yourself, where they got a business, brand, a product, a service, whatever it is. All subscriptions, all ad revenue, all donations, all of that stuff, I'm trying to put in a pot. And in that pot, it's all going to go to any of my guest speakers or anybody who I feel needs more attention towards what they're doing. And I'm going to buy into their stuff. And then the people who are subscribed will have an opportunity to win it. So that's what my plan is to do with all the subscriptions that I get. That's why I was hesitant to start it, because I never wanted to really get money from anybody. But I knew that it just got to that point of affiliate, and I got the subscribe button. So I was like, yo, what am I going to do with this? Because I don't want to look at it like I'm just trying to get profit and make money off of people's content and their stories. So my plan with that, Nacho, just so you know, doesn't matter whether it's $4, $5, $10, $20, whatever it is, I'm going to pay the difference. And whenever I see people doing projects and stuff, I'm going to start buying little stuff. I hold it into what's called the clocking out vault. And then I'll start doing giveaways. And in those giveaways, all the subscribers are going to have a chance to win one of the pieces of art that I have, whether it's graded cards, whether it's digital NFTs, any type of artwork. Oh, we got back on. I thought I lost the connection for a second. And yeah, so that's the way we're gonna do it. And for anybody else who's a little interested in like, damn, I can't afford the $4, I can't do it. Trust me, I understand. I've been there myself. We're also giving a free option for people to get into it. We're going to be doing POAPs. So if they tune in and they interact and they answer a few questions, you win a POAP for participating and showing up. And that POAP is going to be used as an access token that if you collect 3 or more, I haven't decided on what the number is yet, but if you collect a certain number of it, you'll have an opportunity to enter in for free for the paid giveaway and win a prize also as well. So I thought about it in many different aspects, because I've been in myself where I want to take part in giveaways or I want to help support, and I don't have the money. And it's hard to show up for people. And I feel like people just showing up and interacting and sharing and liking and just tuning in, whatever, I feel like that's you giving some form of payment, and I'm very appreciative to that, because anyone, whether it's 3, 4, 1 person, any of these people, even such as yourself, could be doing anything else right now with your time. So the fact that you're giving me your time and you're sharing your story and you're just putting in that effort, I want to do my part as well. So I just want you to know, at some point, I'm going to be buying into your stuff. I'm going to be collecting your stuff. I'm going to be having it. And anytime that I can help, if you got a project that's coming out, like we mentioned before in the DMs, I want to do something where we could do a giveaway, where basically the whole focus is going to be just to have people go and check out your content, check out your work. And, I'll bless them with whatever I have in my little collection, whether it's comic books, whether it's artwork, whether it's signed Gary V stuff or graded V friend cards, graded Pokemon, whatever it is that people want. I'm going to have a mix of everything, and we're just going to make it a little fun. So whoever comes and interacts and hangs, they'll have an opportunity to win something. Anyone who's a guest speaker, I want to do my part to support, whether it's just making content and spreading the word of what you're doing. But that's my whole goal through all this right here. I've been really upset when it's like you're saying, a lot of these communities get really big and everything, and you start noticing a lot of people, like Russ says, are faking the funk. And it bothers me, man. So I'm trying to find a way to disrupt all that and just switch it up. There's not going to be no box breaks here where you got to buy and none of that. No disrespect to anybody who does any of that stuff, but I've noticed that everything's got switched to just making a profit. And I'm really tired of that. And I feel like the only way to do that is to lead by example. So whatever I make through this, I have a job, I got my own stuff to deal with. And that's not why I do this. I do this because I enjoy it. I'm trying to get better at it. I want to learn how to be a better person, how to be a better listener, and just find ways to help support other people who were just like myself, trying to make something from nothing and just have a hard time beating the algorithm or trying to get eyes and attention on what they're doing, bro. So whatever I can do, whatever you got going on, man, even if it's not to be on live, hit me up. If you want to chop it up just normally and talk, man, I'm always available. Just hit me up. I can relate to a lot of stuff you're going to. I'm a single father of 2 myself, so I know what it's like, man, when there's certain, situations at times that you need someone to talk to, or you don't know how to deal with certain things and you feel like there's not someone who can relate or understand. I've been through, from what you're sharing, man, I feel like we got a lot of similarities in our stories and we've been through similar paths. So anytime you need to chop it up and talk, man, I'm always a DM away. You know, I'm pretty sure I sent you my number also, and I got yours too as well. So anytime at all, man, shoot me a text, give me a call, man, and whatever I could do to help, just let me know, man, and I'll always do what I can.
I appreciate that, brother, and likewise, for sure. I appreciate that a lot. It's a lot of the reason why I got involved in this space is just connect with people like yourself. So yeah, we'll definitely chop it up more. And as I get better at the lo-fi beats, I can start making beats for like your show to be on in the background. And
I
shit.
love that 100%, bro. I'm with it.
Yeah, if you check my pinned tweet out, you can listen to the first one I made. But that's obviously like the first of its kind, you know. But
Yo,
I'm
bro,
playing with it.
I'm definitely going to check it out, man. I'm definitely going to share your stuff. Again, anyone who's listening, tuning in, whether you're here live or whether you're listening to this pre-recording, just know that any of the contact information, whether it's his artwork, his music, or the content that he makes with his daughters, I'm going to share it in the description below. So whether you're listening to this on a podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Google Play or any of that stuff, it's going to be in the description. If you're watching this on YouTube or Twitch, or if you're rewatching this on X, all the information is going to be updated by tomorrow, and it's going to be in the description. Make sure that you give DadBob a follow on Instagram, on Twitter, or X, or whatever you want to call it, and go check out his content that he has on Facebook with his daughters and on YouTube. Make sure you show some love. You know, give him some feedback in the comments, share, like, and yeah, man, this has been Clocking Out Podcast. I'm PR, the King of Hearts. This is DadBob. Thank you guys for tuning in. I love the conversation, bro. I hope you have a great rest of the night. Everybody, take care. I love y'all. Stay safe. Peace.
Have a good one, brother.